Hello, everyone! Welcome back to Star Trek Club. It is meeting 3. I'm Captain Logan, and next to me is Brandon Grimm, asking the question, what would Q do while simultaneously getting not a one-up mushroom, a make-you-big mushroom, and all the way from the Enterprise D, it's Adam Meredith. Hello, Adam!
Hailing frequency is open.
Are you ready for fun?
Oh, yeah.
Good. I sure hope so. We have all gotten together once again to watch random Star Trek episodes, as Jason says in the comments. Hello, Jason. My son is here with us, but just in text. And we're going to spin the wheel here in a minute and find out what our first episode is for tonight. So if you've not been to one of our first couple meetings of Star Trek Club, I'll break down for you real quick what we do here. First of all, we have a fancy new logo. Look at our fancy new logo made by DJ Martinez.
Yeah, look at that.
He did a fantastic job on that. Thanks a bunch to DJ.
That's good.
Our new logo there, and we watch Star Trek on this show right after we do a little bit of trivia. So we're gonna play We're gonna play a game of Is It Bigger Than a Standard Replicator here in just a minute, and then we're gonna do a quiz, you guys. I've got a 10-question quiz for us.
Quiz.
Awesome.
We'll find out what
Is it multiple choice?
It is multiple choice. Yes, it is indeed.
As
And
Dr. McCoy said, what is this multiple choice?
And everybody will want to pull out, you guys, maybe pull out your phones, or if you're on a keyboard there, so that you can guess at it as we go along. Because I'm going to do it like we always did back at the old club, where I'll go through the whole quiz without giving you the answers to them, and then we'll go back through it and figure out what the answers are, instead of doing it one at a time. So that everybody at home has a chance to, everything's a game show here. Also, the folks at home have a chance to guess at it and think about it as we go along. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll let you know in a little bit what the category is for that, and then we'll have a discussion topic a little bit later, and possibly a couple of different topics suggested to us by our viewing audience. We are so excited about bringing to you kind of a streamlined version of the old club that Brandon and Adam and I used to do, that my wife and I ran together. That is essentially what this is, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So if you're new to it, if this is your first time watching live or after the fact, welcome. Hope you enjoy it. And I also want to mention that this kind of live broadcasted club, a little bit more loosey-goosey than a lot of the stuff that we do on the channel. We're going to be doing commentaries, of course, as we go through episodes. If there are episodes that we don't remember real well, we may do a lot less talking. I mean, we're basically just broadcasting a club meeting, and
that's what we used to do in club meetings.
Kind of a virtual club meeting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Although we're talking more than we did back then, but there were definitely days where we did just as much as we are on this show. Yeah.
Can I just say though?
Sure.
I'm looking at what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, gosh, I used to think that we were nerdy. We have hit new levels of nerddom in these last few meetings. We keep breaking the bar on this one. Adam, you have raised the bar yet again with your background.
Yeah, if only he was wearing like a Gorn costume or something on top of it. You should get a Gorn costume.
Like a Gorn costume.
But I also want to mention that this club, as Brandon says, as nerdy as it's going to be, this is going to make us look more like nerds and less like geeks, I suppose, to some degree. But as super geeky and nerdy as this is, and as difficult as some of the trivia will be here and there, I don't want to repel new viewers. I want to use this just like our old club that we did in person to try to acclimate people and get people into Star Trek. So there will be some things that are over your head. There will be some things that you don't know about yet. You might feel like this is not a place for you. Please don't feel like that. If you have questions and you're watching live about anything that we're talking about or watching, nothing is too noob for this show. Okay, so like if you're if you have a real like latecomer kind of question, I don't know what that is. I've never seen anything related to what you're talking about right now. Don't feel like you're not a part of it. We got lots
of the stupidest questions. Sometimes.
Still, even after 15 plus years. Yeah, no.
Watching TNG since I was a kid.
But yeah, don't feel like you're like you're not supposed to be here or something. We got a lot of folks back in our old club that had never really seen any Star Trek at all before they came into the club.
Yeah, there's like all levels of people.
All
there.
levels. And doing this on a weekly basis, I got a lot of folks really into it. And just getting a really nice sampling, a smattering all across the board of Star Trek episodes. So anyway, let's go ahead and spin the wheel. We're going to start spinning the wheel right at the beginning so that everybody has time to get their hands on the episode before we actually get to it. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to spin the wheel and find out what our first episode is for today. If you want to put another episode on the wheel today, anybody that leaves a super chat tonight will be entitled to choose an episode. We already got one from Game Station there in the comments. He left us a super chat. So Game Station, you are entitled, sir, to a episode title to put on the wheel if you know any Star Trek episodes. And if you don't know any Star Trek episodes, feel free to just go find a random one, and we'll put that on the board too. We need to start keeping really good track, you guys, of the episodes that we've done already, so that we don't end up with some repeats.
No movies, no TAS.
For now, although I could see maybe later starting to put some TAS on there if somebody really wants to do some TAS. Sure. And we're not going to do movies besides Beyond because we've already done commentaries on all the movies. Yeah, so those are off limits just because we've done them already, just not on this show. But Beyond is on the wheel.
Watch those videos.
Right.
Yes.
So it is possible that we could end up doing Beyond tonight, I guess. That could come up. The only thing that we wouldn't use is if Beyond came up for the second episode.
Right.
But if we get a two-parter for the second episode, we will split it across two shows. Everybody ready to find out what we're going to be doing?
I'm super anxious.
Are you? I am too. All right, here we go. And the wheel is spinning.
Oh, my.
And we begin with The Survivors. Tonight we're watching Good Tea, Nice House. So we're going to another TNG episode.
I like this episode.
There are, and I want to say that's season 3.
It's like the second episode of season 3, or second or third episode.
It's going to feel more like a second season episode.
That was an act of unmitigated gall. I like gall.
And Picard was an unmitigated disaster. He actually says that in that show, which is really apropos. Anyway, so let's go ahead now and go on to some standard replicators, shall we? The way standard replicator works is I am going to think of something that has to do with Star Trek. These guys are going to ask me questions to try to figure out what it is, yes or no questions, and we're going to give the audience itself as an entity a turn. So the first good question that I see, I will answer when we get to the audience's turn. And I'm not going to give you guys any other clues beyond it.
So
has something to do
it won't be
with Star Trek. Game Station, real quick, let me go ahead and answer your super chat. He asked if this has nothing to do with this club, but if the Superhero Rewind sequel month is still happening this month. I don't know if I'm going to get all of it in 1 month now because the month is kind of getting away from me, but I'm working on RoboCop 2 and I'm going to get that out as soon as I can. So the next 4 rewinds are going to be the long avoided sequels like I've been talking about on the channel, and I don't think I'm going to get them all inside a month, unfortunately, but that will be the next 4 rewinds, and I'll do them as quickly as humanly possible. Anyway, John Ty, could you guys watch the Drumhead episode from TNG? $5 super chat. Thanks so much. I think Drumhead is already on the wheel. Let me look here. Somebody asked for that, and I want to say it's already here. Maybe it's not. I don't see it. So I will go ahead and add it. I thought somebody put that on there. Hopefully it's not on there twice. Let me look real quick. Because this is in no particular order. Okay, the Drumhead now being added to the wheel. One of my favorite episodes.
Drumhead.
You guys, we're going to knock out so much TNG so early that we're going to have like a whole... Yeah, we're just going to have a whole period where we do nothing but Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
Yes.
We're going to do nothing, Adam, but DS9 episodes out of sequence that really require other episodes around them to appreciate.
Brandon's going to be really confused, but it's also on him.
It'll just be temporal.
He had ample chance to watch Deep Space Nine.
Adam and I are going to not stop making fun of Brandon until he finally finishes Deep Space Nine.
I need to just do it. I need to knock it out, get it done.
It's called binging, Brandon.
I think the first Deep Space Nine rewatch I did was like Spike TV when they were showing like 2 episodes a day or whatever. I'd like record them and then watch them that night and stuff. That was the first time I did a rewatch of Deep Space Nine.
Solar Dragon Family is not currently on the wheel, so that's one that could be added. And Game Station, like I said, just sometime. Don't feel like you have to put in another super chat. I'll see your question. There's few enough people here, but make sure to put in an episode title at some point, and I'll add it to the board. And just so everybody knows, if you leave multiple super chats, you'll thanks a bunch for doing that, but you'll only get the one episode title on the wheel because there's only so many spaces. And when we get to 100, then we just won't have any more for a while, except for replacing the ones for the shows that we do per evening. But we're doing 2 a week, so that'll be 2 more spaces that we can add even if we hit 100 on the wheel. There are 705 Star Trek episodes outside of New Trek, so there's a whole bunch of stuff to choose from. There's a bunch of bad things to choose from also. Okay, I am thinking of something that has to do with Star Trek. Adam, would you like to begin this week?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
We'll use Jason's old question. Is it bigger than Worf?
It is not bigger than Worf. Brandon.
We'll use another of Jason's questions. Is it green?
It is not green. And we now go to the audience. So guys, somebody leave us a yes or no question trying to help us figure out what the thing is that I am thinking of that has to do with Star Trek. It is smaller than Worf, and it is not green. And if I don't see a question in a few seconds, I'll just go ahead and go back to Adam.
Did Jason come up with that during his Gorn phase?
I think so, yeah. Jason, this is a great question. Jason asks if it's played by an actor. It is played by an actor. That bypasses several questions. Good job. Adam.
That's good. That was a good question. Is this, well, we have to assume it's some kind of character in some form or another. Is this in The Next Generation?
This is TNG, yes indeed.
Okay.
Is this... I never assume actor to mean specifically male, so is it a male?
It is not a male. It is not a male, and that's a good thing to narrow down, of course. Solar Dragon has Riker slept with it. Will Riker has not slept with this, no.
Is this a corporeal being?
It is a corporeal being.
Do we see this in person in more than one episode?
Yes.
More than one episode.
TH1, is it an animal? It is not an animal. It is not an animal played by an actor. Adam.
It's not the lady in that costume.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, let's think of some things that could fit on the fish. Oh yeah,
the 2 fish who were assassins.
Those weren't animals, though.
I still call them animals, though.
Well, okay, but if you said that, you'd have to say the insectoid Zindi are animals or something. No, but
they're fish.
But we do have precedent for stuff like that. There is. Mostly in TOS, the M113 creature is an animal played by an actor, played by a couple actors really, because there's a monster costume, and you also have Mugatu, which was played by an actor.
Yeah. Okay, so it appears in more than one episode. It's female.
Played by an actor.
Is this a regular character on the show, or a fairly reoccurring character?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is this character a love interest?
No, not as such. Not as such.
Guess?
Yeah.
Is it Lwaxana Troy?
It is not Lwaxana Troy. Okay. No, and Lwaxana Troy I would have called a love interest in at least one episode. I think this character not in the present day of the one thing I'm thinking of. I don't think ever present day a love interest. No.
Okay.
And then we go back to the audience. David Crabtree asks if she's Starfleet. She is indeed Starfleet. And we go to Adam.
She is Starfleet. Well, it can't be Rolaren because Riker did.
Riker did sleep with Rolaren. That's right. Yeah.
We actually had Ro recently in a game too.
But yeah, that's a good point that Brandon made. Is you guys can make a guess at any time.
Let me think here. Starfleet woman appears more than once.
Fairly regularly.
Does she work in sick bay?
No. Wait. Yes.
Is it Nurse Ogawa?
It is not Nurse Ogawa.
So, she works in sick bay. Does Then I'm drawing a complete blank all of a sudden.
Do you want to ask a question or do you want to pass?
I'm gonna pass.
Solar Dragon guesses Admiral Nechayev. Which it is not Admiral Nechayev. John Hufford asks if it is a Klingon. It is not a Klingon. And we go to Adam.
She works in... Oh. Is it Dr. Solar?
It is not Dr. Solar.
Oh, can I still ask a question?
Yeah.
So this person works in sick bay. Oh. Are they in season 2 of Next Generation?
No. But you don't get another guess because you already guessed. Yes, indeed.
Were they only in season 2?
Only in season 2.
Is it Dr. Pulaski?
She is Dr. Pulaski, who has slept with a Riker, but not Will Riker.
Adam, I love how you gave up your only chance to win that one.
Oh, I should have waited.
I love that 4 questions in, somebody said, has she slept with Riker? And I very slyly said, not Will Riker, but she has slept with a Riker. That was fun. Good job, guys.
That was fun.
We always like to do this game to kind of just get everybody's headspace into Star Trek. So we're going to do at least one round of that each week. And now we go on to our 10-question quiz. And today's quiz is going to be about incidental and performed music in Star Trek.
Ooh.
Incidental and performed music in Star Trek. So I'm just trying to move things around here so that everybody can see. Okay, so I'm going to take you through the whole quiz. Brandon, you might want to get out your phone, or if you want to just write on this pad
Either
here,
way,
you can.
I got my phone.
Whatever you want to do.
I'll just use my texting.
Okay, cool.
I have
Make sure it doesn't autocorrect your
writing
letters.
down?
Right.
What's that, Adam?
What are we writing down?
Just the letters, the answers to each question, so that you know what you wrote down.
And then we can all check our answers at the end. Okay.
And everybody, please don't cheat. Don't look these up. Try to play for yourself and see how well you know these things. Obviously, we're not playing for any kind of prizes or points or anything. This is just for fun. But challenge yourself. See how well you do. And guys, I'm just for the duration of this not going to be looking at comments because I don't have I only have 3 screens right now. And I actually would need a 4th screen. So anyway,
you can do that.
It's not important. But let's go ahead and just go through the quiz. Oh, and I'm showing you guys now the audience.
Other than myself,
okay. Yeah.
I think you are the only other person I know who has more screens than I do, whether used or not. And you have some of my screens.
I do have some of your screens. Is everybody ready? Here we go. Incidental and perform music in Star Trek. So this is a quiz about music that appears in the series that's not background music. So this is all in-canon stuff. Question. No. So each of these is simply going to be the name of a song, and I'm going to ask you what episode or film it appears in. That is the quiz. Here we go. Number 1, Blue Skies by Data. Generations, First Contact, Insurrection, or Nemesis. And I will give everybody just a few seconds. I'll give everybody as long as it takes Brandon to answer each question.
Well, I answered that one.
Number 2, I Hate You by an unknown in-universe band. The Voyage Home, The Final Frontier, Undiscovered Country, or Star Trek Beyond.
The only question is, how many megatons?
Number 3, The Best Is Yet to Come by Vic Fontaine and Ben Sisko. Apparently I just stopped writing numbers after 2. Only a Paper Moon, Bada Bing, Bada Bang, His Way, or What You Leave Behind. Of course, all Deep Space Nine episodes. Next, Beyond Antares by Uhura and The Children Shall Lead, Bread and Circuses, The Conscience of the King or The Way to Eden, And I will say, just not to trip anybody up, she sings that song in 2 episodes, but one of those episodes is not in here. So we're just looking for the one of these 4 where that does appear. But there is another one, and I did not put that one, of course, in the answers.
Okay, I'm probably getting most of these wrong, but
I'm gonna guess on that one. I don't remember the other time she sings that.
Next up, I Only Have Eyes for You by the Flamingos. Incidental music. Sitting on the Edge of Forever from TOS.
Yeah.
Lessons from TNG. Far Beyond the Stars from DS9. Or Life Signs in Voyager. The DVD release used a different song, and now on Netflix, it's back to the way it aired.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and I've never watched it that way, so I'm not sure. I didn't recognize the song title of the other one, so I'll have to go back at some point and look at that. That was something I didn't know until I was doing research for this. Next up, Magic Carpet Ride by the villain from Justice League, Steppenwolf. Generations, First Contact, Insurrection, or Nemesis. Should be a fairly easy one, relatively. Yeah, something you guys that I realized that I never really thought about much is, or before at all. You know what the difference is between the TOS movies and the TNG movies? Article adjectives. Every TOS movie has the word "the" in them,
Right.
and every TNG movie has no "the."
Right.
And
The
every
first
Abrams
contact.
movie has no colon.
Yes.
So is it regular?
Next up, Nightbird by Will Riker. Minuet, Data's Day, Second Chances, or Remember Me. Nightbird, the song, the jazz song where Riker could not get the solo to on his trombone. Those are all, of course, TNG episodes.
That may be the only one I got actually right.
I can't remember. That's what.
Oh, wow! If I stumped
I'm
you with that, I would be
certain
real
it's this
surprised.
one.
I know it's one of 2. I can't remember which one.
Wow.
I'm certain it's the one I picked.
Next, Echoes of the Void by Harry Kim. From the Void, or Night,
my God.
the Swarm, Year of Hell. All Voyager episodes.
It's one of 2 on that list, and I cannot. It's got to be the. It's got to be the one that's throwing me.
An original composition on his
Original
clarinet.
Yes, on his clarinet.
Ya-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, you actually know the song.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
How it goes.
Yeah. Plays it on the bridge.
Mozart's String Quartet number 19 in a significant scene in a TNG episode. Sarek, the Nth Degree, In Theory, or The Ensigns of Command.
I know. I can see it being played, and I can't think of the. it must be. Maybe, I'm going with that.
And our final question for this evening's quiz is I'll Be Seeing You also by Vic Fontaine, a DS9 episode. His Way, Only a Paper Moon, Extreme Measures, or Tears of the Prophets.
I had to guess on that one.
I'm guessing as well.
If it helps at all, I will give you the hint on that, Adam, that it's a plot point. That is not an insignificant song choice. That is a plot point. Okay. We scroll up now to back to the first question, and I'm going to reveal all of the answers. Here we go, guys. So Blue Skies was, of course, sang by Data in what film?
Nemesis.
I picked Nemesis.
Which comes back in Bookends Picard. I Hate You is from the is on a boombox on a bus in Star Trek 4,
Yes.
The Voyage
And
Home.
I never understood why people applaud him and they're not like shocked that he just assaulted a man
They should be
on
kind
the
of horrified.
bus.
Yeah.
I guess they really hate punk.
Well, I mean, that guy was being a jerk face, but
He was
like,
being a jerk,
they don't know
but
if he's dead. They don't know what just happened to him.
He could have been dead for all they know.
See, that's one of those, that scene is hilarious, but if you overthink it, you get to where you realize that the context is the audience knows what happened, but there's no way those people would have.
Yeah.
So like, you have to know what a nerve pinch is, and none of those people would have known that.
Right.
Best Is Yet to Come was sung at the end of Bada Bing Bada Bang after Sisko finally comes to appreciate Vic Fontaine in a silly caper on a holosuite. That's kind of a hit and miss episode, but that scene is amazing.
Right.
Beyond Antares was sung by Uhura for the second time in Conscience of the King.
Oh man, I got that one. It's the first time Charlie X, right?
Charlie X is actually a different song. I don't remember the other episode right off the top of my head.
Oh, Charlie X is when she sings like Spock is the devil or something.
Yeah, it's the like I can't remember how it goes now. I used to know that. I was like, our boy Charlie. Yeah. I don't remember how it goes anymore. I Only Have Eyes for You is sung in the background on the holodeck from the date with the Doctor and Denara Pell in Life Signs. Life Signs,
really?
Brandon. Mm-hmm. It's that really romantic scene where they have that that old car on Mars.
Yeah, Cadillac.
Was it a Cadillac?
Mars,
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I know the scene.
Magic Carpet Ride by Steppenwolf, of course, is in Brandon.
I don't know.
First Contact, man.
It is. That's what I picked. I was totally unsure on that.
I figured of any of these, that would be the one that everybody would know. That's
I'm not remembering where it appears.
That's when he goes, "Let's rock and roll."
The Flight
and
of
that
the
weird little
Phoenix.
plastic disc.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
And then Nightbird. The solo gets all flubbed up in Second Chances in the opening.
Oh crap!
Of Second
It's
Chances.
Second Chance.
It
Oh,
is.
I picked Minuet.
I picked Remember. I couldn't remember if it was that or Remember Me because I know that there's a trombone in both. But the Remember Me is the kid messing around with the trombone. That's what it is.
No, Remember Me is
That's where the universe gets smaller.
is that Crusher episode?
Oh,
yeah.
no, then what am I thinking of? What's the one with that little kid?
That's
Insectoid.
Yeah. Future Imperfect.
My name is Barash.
Yeah, Future Imperfect. I thought that's. I initially thought that's where that was too, but I looked it up.
Oh, that's what I was thinking Minuet was, but Minuet is the one with the.
Minuet is the one with Minuet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm second guessing myself and wondering if I looked that up wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Second Chances. If I'm wrong about that, it's in Future Imperfect.
Right, it's at the beginning.
Yeah, I thought it was how they opened that, and then they go find that other Riker, and yeah. I think that's right. Maybe that's not right. I'm going to look that up and make sure. Echoes of the Void is from the first episode of Voyager of 2 with a place called The Void called Night. There are 2 voids. And in the second Void episode, nobody seems as bothered by the Void as they did in the first episode.
Better.
They all freak out, and then it's like, well, we've been to Voids before. So the string quartet was played in a Mozart concert that Perrin was invited to in Sarek. That was not the piece that moved Sarek to tears, but it was the first piece that we hear in the concert.
It was between that and I couldn't remember what In Theory was, and I was like,
I didn't want to pick the Brahms piece because I didn't figure anybody would know that, but I thought that the hint that would tip you off there was that it was a Mozart concert.
In Theory confused me because does Data play in Theory the violin at all? In that, like at the beginning of that episode at all?
I don't remember.
I couldn't remember.
I just picked that one because it was a Data episode. I actually don't remember
I don't
if
think
he's
he does.
playing
I don't
at
think
all
he
in
does.
that.
I think it's a different one.
And then finally, I'll Be Seeing You is the song that Nog plays 6 billion times after he gets his leg blown off in It's Only a Paper Moon.
Oh, man.
Got
That was
I can never remember the
plot
names
point
of the
there.
Vic Fontaine episodes because they all have song names.
Yeah.
I got a 40%.
Well, and I don't know why they didn't call that episode "I'll Be Seeing You." It would have. It kind of would have been a better episode title for that, I think. I mean, they're both fine, but it's just sort of good they didn't name it after the song that's there constantly. Adam, how did you do, man?
I missed 3.
You only missed 3.
I missed 6.
Okay, well, I hope that was fun for everybody. Let us know how you guys did in the comments there. Not seeing a lot of people posting about that. What's up?
Uhura sings Beyond Antares. Okay. She sings it on the bridge to that weird Kevin guy down when he's down in the torpedo bay, and then they squirt this poison in his drink when he's eating, right?
What episode is that?
In Conscience of the King.
Oh, yeah.
When
I
they try
couldn't
to
remember
murder
what scene
him
it
as
was
he's
in.
the witness, or Kevin Riley, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. That was one I looked up. I just needed 10.
Yeah,
I knew that song title, but I couldn't remember where it
that's
was.
what it was.
Yeah. Half the reason I do these quizzes is to remind myself of stuff and try to get some of the
He was like the
rust
only
uncovered.
other witness or guy that had been on the Kodos planet, whatever it was. So he was like a witness.
Everybody just give me a minute. I gotta set my episode up here. And Brandon, if you wouldn't mind moving that light for me too.
Yes.
Thanks, man. Okay, guys, we are going to watch The Survivors here in just a moment. It is the second episode. No, I'm sorry, the third episode of Season 3 of TNG, because this is very quickly just becoming TNG Club.
Third season.
It's going to be so exciting when we watch something else, but statistically right now, it's not likely to happen for at least a little while.
And I'm back.
From outer space.
I suggested a TOS episode. Did it get put up on the board?
It did. I finally got that on there.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we might have that one.
Would you drop that light, too?
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, man.
No,
That's
you're
gonna
fine.
that's gonna irritate us very quickly.
Yes, it will.
What's better?
Oh, I'm just seeing your. I guess your screen's got moved a little bit. Your thing's got
What are you talking about?
your projector.
I don't know what you're
Brandon
talking
is
about,
breaking
Brandon.
everything over there.
No big deal.
My
I was
goodness.
just noticing
I still don't know what he's talking about. Anyway.
the screen. On screen.
Well, yeah, I mean, this gets moved all the time.
Yeah, I know. I
It's a
was hoping I
desk.
didn't bump it.
Oh, okay. It's a desk, Brandon.
It's a desk.
Okay, is everybody ready? We're gonna watch The Survivors. We're gonna talk over it while we're watching, and then, and this is one that I know, but not like insanely super well. So you know, I'll jump in when I have something to say. But there could be some dead air during this, unless Adam is constantly talking, which is totally cool. Feel free to do that. And Adam,
not unusual at all.
don't forget that the intro music keeps drowning us out. So don't get all freaked out if you can't hear us during the intro music. All right, folks, get ready to sync up with us. Get it to timestamp 0 and get ready to press play when I say now. Here we go. We're going to watch The Survivors from Season 3 TNG just before we really caught our stride. But this is an okay episode. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now.
Captain's log, stardate 43152.4.
Say the name of some obscure planet. We're entering the Deltarana star system.
Deltarana.
I love
Ooh,
TNG
distress
episodes. I love TNG episodes that open with Picard very dramatically saying the name of some random planet.
Yeah.
It's the best.
What
Or
do you
just
think
some
of this?
region of space.
What do you think of this background?
Oh, that's pretty good. Did Q send you out there?
I'm out there. Q sent me out there.
You know what my favorite is? My favorite is Galondon Core.
The London Core.
I like Forcus 3.
That one's always good.
Fortress
David
3.
just sent in a $2 super chat and asked to add Trials and Tribulations to the wheel. We're gonna watch all the really popular good ones in
Yeah,
the
we're
first
gonna
like
have
10
nothing left.
meetings. And then no one is ever gonna ask to put anything on the board again. We're gonna get to where, because we're doing 2 a week, it's gonna start getting really obscure. We're like, oh, you guys already watched that? I'm out. I'm done. Well, Troy, your powers just are not always all that useful. I'm sorry.
No.
Magnify.
And then she lost him. And she was disabled, Captain.
I can't wait to watch that. I hope some people
I
put
am
some more
disabled,
bad
Captain.
episodes on the wheel that will be really funny to talk about. Oh, you just said the episode title in the episode, Riker.
There should be like an extra point for that.
Life form readings are negative.
They're looking for 11,000 people, all gone.
Are you just gonna give us a running commentary what's happening in the episode, Brandon? Say your whole
See,
plan?
they had these weird themes on their uniforms for like the first like 10 episodes of this season, like on the red, see how you can see it, and then they got rid of it. I don't know why.
I actually watched a thing talking about just that the other day.
What?
About how they got rid of this seam. It's one of those videos I sent you.
Oh, okay.
It's costume department. They were trying to make some design changes. Nobody liked the seam. They wanted a different look.
So just a flat look.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine both ways.
Yeah.
Some kind of illusion.
Negative. It is as you see it.
It's unusual to see Crusher without the jacket, right?
Yeah,
She's just wearing a
she
normal
usually
blue
wears the
uniform
jacket.
right now. She's usually got her medical jacket, which I
And
love the medical jacket. It's cool.
I like the jacket. She wears it all in like season. Is it 4? Because she was pregnant, so they're hiding that her.
Hey Jason, we just started the intro, buddy. So we're at 43:03 from the end on Netflix.
Yeah.
David, I've had that thought too. Wesley's shoulder pads were obviously the inspiration for the First Contact movie uniforms. There does look like there's
They
almost
kind of look
a
like that.
direct,
They do look like that a little bit, yeah.
yeah, evolution there.
Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has
I turned it
gone
down so it didn't do that weird thing again.
Probably.
I'm sorry, what? I can't understand what you're saying. I'm understanding.
So after the stylized text of the original series, I really do like the stylized text for this series, TNG. They had a good,
I like the TNG logo, but it is
updated-
very dated.
Yes, but at the time it was very updated.
It was very
It's a 60s
80s.
logo.
I don't think the font is too dated though.
The font is not dated, like that with that the names are in and stuff.
Yeah.
But just the logo itself.
The logo itself, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm with Brandon. I like the font a lot. It's
Font
like
is
subtly
good.
different from TOS. Like it still looks very clearly Star Trek. Like even at the time, moving from TOS to TNG, I think that's recognizable.
It definitely did. I like the regular font that they use for everything else.
TH1 puts in a $5 super chat and asks for latent image from Voyager. I'll put that on the wheel. Good, we need some more Voyager. Thanks, man. Latent image. And thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. So, Brandon, have you seen this one very many times?
I can say I've seen it a handful of times at least.
This one always irritates me for some reason because of Troy. Because
That's redundant. You could say that about so many episodes.
She's like, make it stop, make it.
Oh, yeah.
But look at Crusher's hair. I never cared for that hairstyle.
There are also a number of TNG episodes, though, Adam, that have exactly that problem with, like not just she's being whiny or just saying something irritating, but screaming at a mirror or something.
Yeah.
Several places where she, because, do you remember this one? Because it's not me inside!
But I like it in Night Terrors, though, when she's floating in the green.
Where are you? That's Dan
Are you?
News' favorite TNG episode. He loves making fun of that.
So
I love Night Terrors. People don't like it. I think. it's
Meanwhile, back at 1/4 of Starfleet headquarters.
yeah, is this like this
I
place?
like that
Can you actually
they
visit
really
it?
did a map painting there, but they
don't
never
know.
show like them actually looking at the.
Well, yeah, they're clearly on location here. This is some
devastation.
building
Yes, but,
somewhere.
I mean, can you still go to this building? Like,
I don't
that'd
know.
Be kind of
It
fun.
looks like a building that
Oh, they-
needed to be torn down back then. Maybe I'm not sure.
No, it looks
Sorry,
like
what, Adam?
it could have been a weird like California house.
But like Star Trek does this thing where they have these real like concrete monolithic structures, like in the episode Brothers, and in some of the others.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Cinematographic, since you're late, just in case you don't know where we're at, we're looking at... Oh, I forgot about that part. We're looking at timestamp 39:30 from the end on Netflix. Riker is upside down.
Who are you people? I'm
I just think it's hilarious that he keeps talking upside down.
Yeah.
Isn't
He
there
lost his composure.
Isn't there an episode, I can't remember which one, where, Adam, tell me if I'm right about this, where there's a teaser where somebody, like, is upside down already, or beams in upside down, or something?
Upside down.
Maybe I'm thinking of this, but I thought there was another episode where that happened.
In the last Outpost, they beam Geordi materializes upside
That's
down.
what it is. That's what it is.
I've seen this lady somewhere before, and I can't remember
a
where.
character
Some other
who's in a number of things, and I can tell you a couple. She's in another Star Trek episode. First of all, she's a judge in a DS9 episode.
Oh, that's right.
I forget
Bajoran.
which one. Yes, that's what it is. The place where I remember her from most prominently is Liar Liar. She is Jim Carrey's secretary in that movie.
Oh, she plays Mary Steenburgen's mom in an early episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, I've never seen that. Wow.
Yeah, that's what...
This is going to sound horrible, but I didn't realize she was still alive that late.
Yeah.
So they just described a giant ship coming, and that the whoever was on the ship dismantled their world piece by piece. If that doesn't sound like a Borg invasion, then I don't know what does. Like, to the uninitiated, to the Borg, they wouldn't know that, but like I feel like it should have caused speculation from the crew.
Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of things that might do a thing like that. Why would that speak?
Crystalline entity.
Why would that speak directly to the Borg necessarily?
I just think
they got a lot of
gotta
big
be
ships in
cautious.
Star Trek.
Well,
What do you
sure,
think about
but
this
there's
guy's
other
buckles?
threats besides the Borg.
True.
And they're not yet. But okay, something you're not thinking about is they don't have any reason to think that the Borg could have gotten this far yet.
Okay.
They were shot all the way to the Delta Quadrant, and they don't realize until Best of Both Worlds that they've gotten as far as they've gotten. So there's no reason that they should be that suspicious of them yet. I mean, don't get me wrong, the end of Q Who is, oh god, they're coming, but we don't know how long it's going to take.
Right.
And it's not until Best of Both Worlds, I don't think, that they start talking about how it must have been the Borg that took out those colonies at the end of, or excuse me, in the neutral zone at the end of season 1.
Well, then they actually mentioned that in Q Who, but then but J.P. Hansen, the admiral's like, we are not ready. We didn't expect him to be here that fast.
That's a great Hansen impression. Good job. Another good Hansen impression.
An old man's fantasy.
Here's another good Hansen impression. Bop, 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 oh, sorry. Cinematographic, how much majesty should a starship interior design have, even if it's just a search and rescue ship, without being bland or going overboard? That's a great question.
He just had his I admire Gaul line.
Because the Defiant was all very utilitarian.
Yeah. I think it kind of depends on the context, right? It made a lot of sense for TNG to have more of a majestic...
they have a lot of diplomats and all that on there.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be a cruise ship and a battleship and an exploration vessel all at the same time.
Uh-oh.
I like the lighting in this scene.
That looks good.
This is another episode where her lipstick is popping way too much because of the remaster. And Crushers, too.
Yeah.
They look like they should be in Robert Palmer videos.
It's not as bad as the on TOS when like everybody's wearing eyeshadow. Like all the men have eyeshadow, like McCoy and Leonard Nimoy and.
Solar Dragon says, Solar Dragon says, but Cap, Alex Kurtzman told me that the Borg and the Romulans were the most important threats in TNG. Well, I mean, they kind of were.
Right.
But there were
probably the primary
other threats. Yeah.
You'll be protected on our ship. You could still be in danger.
I'm not saying they shouldn't have brought it up because the Borg actually aren't important. I'm saying that at this point, I don't know why they would necessarily be thinking of them every time they went on a mission.
Right.
Solar Dragon, how come they don't send more security people down during dangerous away missions? That's a good question. We only ever send a party of 4 or 5.
Maybe because they realize that security people get killed just randomly all the time after James Kirk.
The statistical likelihood of you dying...
He was a social experiment.
And not being a main character. Real high.
It's too rich. You're going to be like Guy in Galaxy Quest.
it's like 90 times more dangerous than COVID-19.
So
Just,
I rewatched,
just beaming down and not having your name in the titles. I'm sorry, what, Adam?
I rewatched Undiscovered Country recently.
Yeah.
And you know when they have the dining scene at the beginning? That mess or galley or whatever is just this room. With
is it really? I didn't notice that.
It's the same table. They just covered it differently.
In Troy's defense here,
Riker's just staring at her.
that would drive you insane, right?
Yeah.
You had that music
That would
box
drive
in your
you
head.
crazy.
That would drive you insane.
Riker's
Well, I
looking
don't
one
blame her, but
direction.
still,
But her performance is hilarious and irritating. Yeah. Sorry, what?
Riker's looking one direction in the scene, looking at Picard. Then, as soon as they cut to Picard, Riker's just like staring intently at Troy, and Picard notices Troy, but Riker's just like all on Troy.
I know he's like watching it.
I'm sorry, I'm not feeling very well. I'd like to go to my quarters.
Like this doesn't tip
So
anybody off.
that's some decent POV stuff, but and there's no way around it. But in film and television, if you think about it too much, that kind of thing gets confusing. So like, we're in her head briefly hearing that, and and we're supposed to like appreciate why it's so irritating and overpowering her. But then when she stands up and it stops real quick, have we gotten out of her head, or did it stop for her also? I don't know.
I think they got out of her head, but yeah.
I was under the impression it stopped.
Hard
for
to
her
say.
also.
Because it's so abrupt, I think the average person watching this would think that. But what about standing up would make it stop?
I think
I don't know.
she
I think they were
came
just
out of
trying to
the
like
And
give
that's-
it
and
like
that's why-
emphasis.
and-
she came out of the headspace, though, is what I always took it as.
I
Yeah.
don't know what that means, but I'm just saying that that sort of thing is interesting from a writer's perspective. It's very difficult to convey that kind of thing in a visual medium in a way it wouldn't be in a short story or a novel.
Right. Uh-oh.
David says it's especially more dangerous if they have extra dialogue with one of the main crew members. That's true too.
There it is.
See, it went away again, but there was an external factor.
I think that like it didn't actually go away. I think it's just like it snapped her back to reality, but I think
Yeah.
it's still there under the surface.
Yeah, it's just hard to say. It doesn't matter really.
Right.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying POV is a really
Right.
interesting, difficulty in
Right.
in a
Right.
visual medium.
Do we ever figure out who waters all the plants on the Enterprise?
They water themselves,
They water
Adam.
themselves.
The plants will water themselves. Have you not seen Up the Long Ladder?
Oh, I've seen that one. People, say that's the second most offensive episode after of TNG after Code of Honor.
Sometimes Picard, it just depends on who's writing an episode, right? Under certain people's pen, Picard seems like really insensitive, and under other people's pens, like in this episode, he seems, I don't know who wrote this, but he seems a lot more, sensitive and
Right.
appreciative of, thoughtful, I guess, about
Right.
people's emotions and how they're feeling. Because I like that line when he says, I can tell when someone's in pain and hiding it.
Right. Exactly.
That is an elaborate headband.
Yeah, it is. It's
You don't see it very much, but when she puts her head down slightly, it's just like, why does it have so much going on?
It's like rhinestones or something.
Picard just suggests she take drugs to help her sleep.
Take drugs,
Give us a
Troy.
visual.
Take 'em.
Magnification factor 50.
Get on that Ambien.
Space Ambien.
Space Ambien.
Tom, I'm aware of the TV audio thing. There's no
She's
way
just
around
gonna-
it right now.
She's
my
gonna be doing sleep therapy where she practices therapy while she's sleeping.
We're not,
on Ambien.
Tom, we're not able to monetize these videos, but they haven't gotten blocked so far, so we should be okay at least people being able to watch them.
Approximately 5 times our mass and carrying enough armament to pulverize a planet.
Worf's
Overpriced.
got nothing.
I like how whenever something really bizarre is happening, everybody looks to Worf like it's his fault or something. He's like, I'm just reading my
No,
console.
Worf gets blamed for everything.
Yes,
he does.
Worf's right, like most of the time, from
he
a
gets shot
utilitarian
down time and time
perspective, and
again.
then they like, no, you're wrong. And then by the end of the episode, who was right?
They should listen to him more often.
Yeah, there's one episode where Picard's like, let's investigate Mr. Worf's anomaly. I'm like, it's not his anomaly, he just found it. I think that happens because of the other things he's wrong about a lot, though. He's always right about things that he finds, and you know, sometimes his intuition about things.
Right.
But he's almost always wrong about impulsively firing on other vessels or shooting people or hitting things. Yeah, which is kind of racist, really, Brandon.
But when they're at the conference room and stuff, though, when he's like, we should take this threat seriously, you know, they're always like, no, we have to talk with it. We have to make
like you can take it seriously without necessarily blowing it out of the water. It's like, I think we should look into this. No, because you just want to hit things.
Did they leave anybody down there? I guess not. I guess they're all back on the ship.
No, I don't think they did, because I don't think the Uxbridges wanted anybody there. That is a last name I'll never forget. Uxbridge.
Uxbridge.
Riker to the forge. Give us everything you can to close that gap, Jordan.
Yes, sir. I'll get you to 9.37 in 15
Yeah, man.
That's a great line. I got a 5 o'clock.
Burton's face there is hilarious. He's just like, yeah, man, I'm going to make this he knows what episode he's in. I'm going to make it so much more exciting than it is. I'll get you to 9.7356545, Captain.
So I wonder if Picard thinks that they're being toyed with because they've seen this aberration in ship following before with the Q entity. When it first shows up, it matches them point for point for point, and they're being toyed with then. So he gets the impression that there's not actually a ship following them.
It's hard to say sometimes how much of the way a character, and especially the captain, reacts based on things that have happened in previous episodes.
So
because these things are so episodic and written by different people, and sometimes the people writing them don't remember things that happened earlier. So it's fun to, you know, you'll want to read into those things, and the show is continuous enough that you want to think that it's always keeping, you know, in mind, you know, character progression and everything that has happened before. But there are certainly missteps in places where a character doesn't seem to have learned from something that happened earlier, even in like a combat situation or a diplomacy situation or something.
That's true, but I also think that even if unintentional, where it does line up correctly, I think it works well. I swear they've used that prop before.
That prop they have. They use it like...
Didn't they use it
I'm pretty sure Picard has it as like archaeology equipment or something one time, or Vosh has it or something. I can't remember where else. It looks like a slide projector.
It looks like a screen projector repurposed to be a cage for mice or something.
It looks like they had the Kodak carousel thing on the top of it or whatever.
David says we always see the Enterprise stop. David says we always see the Enterprise stop and go back in the opposite direction, but we never see them go left or right, which is funny because it's opposite of TOS, where we only see them go left and right.
We do very rarely see the Enterprise turn.
And not even turn so much as just veer.
It just goes...
Yeah. Well, that's right, because it doesn't like turn itself. It's always moving forward, right? It does go in reverse a couple times. Back it up.
See, none of these beds can be comfortable. They like sleep on like, look at that. It's like that material, that pillow.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is one of those episodes where the B story, if you can call it that, if it was by itself, would feel like a horror show, like a horror film.
Yeah.
Why does
and then
have so many
the Uxbridge thing is more of just a mystery, where it's like, how did these people manage to stay on this planet when everything else got destroyed? They should be dead too, but they're not.
Do you think this is a set, or do you think they filmed this inside that house?
I couldn't begin to tell you.
I think they filmed it inside that house.
Uh-oh, here it is.
They filmed it inside of some house. Good tea, nice house, here it comes. It's in like the top 5 best Worf lines, I think. But to answer your question, it's definitely not a set.
I
like
think
if
it's
you
a
look
house.
out those windows, it's
Look at those
pretty,
windows,
it's
that's
pretty
real.
clear that you're looking at what's actually out there.
This looks like it cost too much to make if it had been a set.
Well, that's why I'm saying if it's not that house,
that's a modern
if it's
house.
what I'm saying is if it's not the house we saw, it is a house.
It is
They
a
went to
house.
some other
It's
house, even if it's not
a
that
real
one.
building. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a book of TNG like outdoor set locations?
There's some places like databases and stuff like online, like the house that they use for in Blood Oath as the albinos headquarters is a Frank Lloyd
wow.
Wright house.
Ooh.
But yeah, Brandon, if you had such a thing, you'd have to use it for like all of Star Trek because we didn't do a whole lot of on-location shooting in TNG. It was real rare to do that.
Yeah, they didn't do it.
And it was especially rare to do it this early. I don't know how much on location we had prior to this, honestly.
Well, they actually pretty sure they had a location episode right before this, actually. Right after this, they do Who Watches the Watchers, which was
that's
all
location too.
on
Yeah.
location.
Mhm.
But yeah, but this was definitely the first location episode this season because
I'm glad they shot that on location, and I think Who Watches the Watchers is probably as good of a script as that is, not remembered as well if they use Planet Health in that. I don't think it would work.
But there had to be some reason. In some way, you were different.
Which is interesting because of how much of that still takes place on the ship.
Right. The Picard agrees.
In some way, you were set apart from them. There was a difference. You had a special conscience.
My shirt has buckles. That was the difference.
This is one of those episodes where I wonder how many people called the ending. It's like what is actually going on here is a real TOS move, I think.
Yes. Yes, where a guy winds up being non-corporeal. We
do that a lot, yeah. Every time we do it, we're calling back to the Organians every time, and we do it a lot in TOS outside of the Organians too. This is a cool house.
Yeah.
I wonder if they picked this place because, Brandon, to your point earlier, it was so modern it looked almost futuristic. Because you look at you look at that weird stuff going on the wall there, and there's a lot of like rooms on starships and stuff that have things like that. It's almost like, oh, it's uncanny. It's like stuff we built.
It's definitely very
that window back there. Yeah. Oh, David says this interior actually is a set, apparently.
Oh,
which
really?
I have a hard time buying. That's crazy.
That's
if that's
crazy.
True. If so, I'm especially impressed with the lighting, because that looks like the kind of lighting you only get if you've got. Well, I was gonna say with real daylight. That's not that doesn't look artificial to me.
Right.
Crusher just turned off her neocortex. Like, I've suppressed all the activity in the neocortex, and there's still stuff going on.
Can I ask you an obvious question? Why hasn't she taken her to sickbay?
I don't know.
Why are they in her quarters
Yeah,
right
why
now?
are they in there?
It's like, she's too freaked out to be moved.
Sickbay's, it's under renovation right now.
She's too traumatized to be moved.
I'm curious. I want to see where they did the house. Look at this. Let's see.
To my
The
recollection,
outdoor
looks way
scenes
better
were
than it
shot
used
at
to.
a beach house in Malibu.
Oh, okay. I suggested earlier that maybe they needed to tear that down because there was one shot of it that just looked bad, but then the more I looked at it, I was like, no, that's actually a upscale house, but I didn't realize it.
Yes.
So they just said shields down twice. Worf was trying to get the shields back up, and then they went down again. Like, they were already down. They don't get them up that fast.
Ooh, that doesn't look so good.
Ooh.
That didn't look so hot.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's because it's not supposed to look that great.
No, I think some of the.
Why?
I think they
all the
used
back
that
off shots
model
look
before,
fantastic.
I don't think it ever looked very good.
It's because those shields are weird. Like from behind, the problem is the color correction.
You see that guy?
Like it didn't match the background.
Against that door.
It just popped up in this.
He really earned his stunt credit. That
triangular shot.
In fact, I'm
like
gonna say I don't even think it. Yeah, we do that all the time, Brandon. I'm gonna say it doesn't even look bad. Like they're just doing a weird kind of shield, which, by the way, I really appreciate all the alien stuff TNG does, where like the beaming always looks different, the shields always look different, or often do anyway. Like they try a lot of different things, and they try not to base it too much in the technology that the Federation is already using. It's just that shot from behind with those shields looked really strange.
I feel like that this is in this weird kind of intermediary period where they're still like getting a model. Some of the model work like later is way better than earlier in the series. Like it looks way more flat.
Yeah, but in the remaster, that ship looks great from far off.
Yeah, but like
you're right, that does not look like a comfortable bed at all.
The season 3 had the defector in it.
Yeah.
Because that opening sequence with the defector and the Romulan
defector's early, it's like 5 or 6. I'll look real quick.
At some point they got
it's 10 of season 3.
And it might have been when they got a smaller model. They were of the Enterprise, when they got the 4-foot model as opposed to the 6-foot model. They were able to do more dynamic shots because it was easier to move. I know they had a problem with the big model that they built for the pilot.
So I wonder if this ship design is something that Uxbridge just came up with.
He made it on Star Trek Starship Creator.
We should play that sometime on this show and then just get really bored. We should make a ship, but like not actually run a mission, because the missions are boring. They're like you're just looking at a map and just go, and you don't do anything. Occasionally you have to press a button, and it doesn't really even matter if you do it. It just sits there. Like when I first got that, I went and made a sandwich and came back, and it had moved like this much.
I got that when I was a kid.
Yeah,
do you remember when they used to have the Scholastic like things you could order, like books and stuff at like at school? So like
I know about that, but I didn't know that was in that. You got one for the Scholastic
one too, like a CD-ROM, a little handout that they do out. And my mom got it for me. She like ordered it, and I got it much
later. I got it in like 97, 98, maybe a little maybe later than that, where they had done a second version of it, and they added some ships. A little
better, right?
And it was a little better. I mean, there were more pieces you could put in your ship.
Yeah, I had the first version.
It had different categories, and it had more ship classes because it had stuff from Voyager in the movies and stuff. I think.
It is not my intention to interfere, only to help you and Rishon.
Just stay out of our house. This is the 3rd time you've come back to our planet.
Yeah,
Stop
you
it.
Walked in unannounced.
The Enterprise will remain in orbit over the planet. Why? To protect you. It's not necessary.
It's like a fairy tale story where you just keep leaving and coming back.
You're in great danger. The warship has returned. We have fought a pitched battle and lost. Many of my crew have been injured, including a woman whose mind.
Yeah, I guess the really interesting idea, the really interesting aspect of this episode is that you have a character who is not real but thinks she is. It's kind of that hologram thing, but with a different spin on it.
What about Rishon? Is she in favor of being left here?
Some weird decor in this house.
I know, it's very 80s.
Some decor that feels like they went to the future and got the stuff from Masks.
Yeah.
the glass and
those columns back there, they look like they're from Masks.
No. It looks like something like a Miami Vice house.
Yeah.
If Rishon were in danger, would you kill her to save her life?
Oh yeah, I forgot this was supposed to be like ultimate pacifist kind of guy.
Yes.
This reads like a Roddenberry script, kind of.
Yeah.
It is my sworn
Yeah, why is he wearing the flight shirt from the Rocketeer?
My sworn duty to protect you.
They have a lot of potty
Yep,
plants.
that's what he said,
Wow.
Brandon.
So, I want to know why Picard, he was hearing the music box. Might he have thought that could have been the music? Like, he can put two and two together like that.
We have partial control of our weapons. Double the repairs.
The warship is approaching from high orbit. It is very close, 300,000 kilometers distant.
How's that possible?
This is a really well-directed episode.
Yeah. Who directed this? Was it Les Landau?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. I didn't see it in the credits. You want to look it up?
I'll
And
look
find
it
out
up.
who wrote this, too, would you?
Okay.
David says the actor who plays Uxbridge had just lost his wife right before shooting this episode, so it was really hard for him to make.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And that explains some things in that performance. I think that comes through some.
Okay, yeah, it was Les Landau.
That's really
And,
interesting. And sad.
somebody named Michael Wagner wrote this. I've never heard of that.
I don't know. That means it was probably... It might have been... like a spec script, or not a spec script, but one of the scripts that somebody sends in and then they use it.
So he was he wrote 3 episodes of the 3rd season of Next Generation, and he was a co-executive producer for the first 4 episodes. And
Usually
then
when you hear a name like that you don't recognize, it's a one-off writer where they just bought a script.
he left after 4 episodes during the 3rd season. It said Cliff Bowles said, "I just don't think it was his cup of tea as far as the way the show worked." So I guess he didn't like it.
That's interesting, but also keep in mind that this was, even though the season is overall really good, there was a lot of volatility behind the scenes during the season. This was also when Melinda Snodgrass left.
Oh.
I think she stuck it out through part of 3 before she left, although I could be misremembering that. She talks about that in the interview I did with her, so you can go back and look at that and know for sure. It's just been a couple of years, but
This guy died just a few years after this episode aired.
I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else.
No, I meant the writer. The writer.
Oh! I
died.
thought you meant that. I thought you meant Uxbridge.
The actor. I want to see what else he was in.
Yeah.
Let's see here. John Anderson. He had a reoccurring role on MacGyver. He was in several episodes of the original Twilight Zone. He was in.
Riker looks like he needs a nap. Sorry, what?
He was the airline pilot in the Odyssey of Flight 33, which is a Twilight Zone episode where people are on an airplane and it goes like a jet and it goes into like a time warp and they wind up in like first in like the dinosaur times and then they wind up in like 1939 and they can't land because they're in a jet and they look
Oh yeah,
glorious.
I've seen that. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So we've been watching a lot of Landau episodes lately, Adam, you and I, and this is shot differently than what I'm used to seeing from him. Like he does a lot of episodes that just seem, or to my recollection anyway, like good but just kind of serviceable. He's getting really artistic in this one for some reason.
Did he do the one? Oh crap! What did we watch?
It's like
last?
he's trying to be like real, atmospheric.
Right. What did we watch last week? Well, no, we watched Time Zero.
Last
but what
week
did
we watched Time Zero. We watched Phantasms the week before, and then you and I watched a couple
Pegasus.
before that, but I don't remember what.
There's an
Pegasus he wasn't here for.
Did he direct Phantasms? No, but that was Patrick Stewart.
No, that was Patrick Stewart. With the cake.
So, there's some episode we watched recently that I think Landau directed where they had like a shot I'd never seen before, where it was Picard's at chair, and he was sitting there, and they shot through the hole in the horseshoe thing at the film Data over at the science console.
Yeah,
I'd never seen that.
Yeah, you mentioned
before.
that. So I guess he's doing some. He's trying to do some unique stuff.
But yeah, he usually doesn't do a lot.
But here we're seeing like all this like really nice soft focus, and it just feels more kind of introspective and more like intriguing than what I'm used to seeing from him.
I interrupted a waltz.
So they beat him directly to the bridge.
Those pads are dumb. Sorry.
They're really high.
They
He
beat
looks
him
like
directly
Fred
to the
Merck.
bridge, but this always bugged me. Why doesn't, like, when the away team needs to go down to the surface, like, immediately they always, take the turbolift to the transporter room? Why not just beam down to the surface from the bridge?
Well, that's always the question, right? Is why do we need to stand on pads
I
when
think
we
it
don't
takes
need
more
to be on a
maybe it
pad
takes
to beam
more
back
energy.
up to the ship? Sorry, what?
Maybe it takes more energy because they have to beam them to a different location rather than just on the emitter pad. I don't
think
know.
the actual answer is transporter pads look cool.
Look cool, right?
And we never asked that question during TOS, so why would we ask it now?
In TOS, they're like, it's really, really hard to do site-to-site transport.
Site-to-site, they act like it was really hard.
But then
Yeah.
apparently, by this time, it's not. I don't know.
ships
Why.
But even
Bigger,
still,
very power
you don't
reserve.
need a pad. You don't need to be standing on a pad to then beam to another pad.
Right.
Right.
Your deaths. You did your best to satisfy that condition. I'm deeply sorry,
And you know who has
Well,
the
he's
best
lucky nobody got
transporter
killed.
layout?
Sorry, what?
Best transporter layout was on Deep Space Nine when they just had the transporter there, right there and off. So they could just walk right over to that rather than have to go to a different place.
Well, and DS9 had all those cool transporters like all over the station.
Yeah, right.
I wonder why they didn't use those more often.
Yeah, they didn't. I always liked how the Cardassian transporter looked.
Well, imagine that you're in her position in the seat and being told that you're not really a real person.
You're not real.
And, I mean, he's basically saying, like, no, you are sort of real to yourself. Oh, no, I forgot that he came right out and said you don't exist. Okay.
Yeah.
Why would you be telling the creation this?
So she'd do that.
But he did that, I feel like. So they beamed him up to the ship. The biofilters should have said, this is unrecognizable, I feel like.
Not necessarily. He could maybe disguise himself easily enough.
But he didn't even know he was getting beamed.
That's true. But he still could have been disguising himself.
Well, no, he stayed disguised the entire time
Right.
for her benefit. So, like, he was never...
But could that fool the biofilters because you're not beaming a human?
I wouldn't think so, but I guess it did. I mean, yeah. They just needed to get him on the ship, Brandon.
Look, she's still
To
there.
be fair, though, that's a thing we did all the time, even in TOS, where you'd have somebody that turned in, that looked human, and everything
Right.
registered it that way.
Certainly.
She's still there.
They never put her to sickbay. That's doesn't make
Right.
any sense to me.
So she looks
Says
terrible.
he lived as a human for 50 years.
I thought you were gonna say terrible.
What is this guy's species called again? It's like a Dowd or something like that.
I don't remember.
I think he says it here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does.
Oh, somebody.
I wish he'd
made,
reveal
I
his
think Brandon
true
made a
form.
creak noise.
Wow,
And I thought that
I
was
can't
the-
believe you knew that. Like, if we'd done that in
The
trivia, you would have
Dowd?
gotten down. That's
Ouch. And
crazy.
The Hoshnak are the people he killed, I think.
I can't believe you remember that. That's nuts.
The Hoshnak.
There are episodes like this that are fine, but I never think to memorize anything from them. Like, it just or stuff doesn't stick with me.
There was like a creak noise on your end, and I thought that it was somebody walking in the episode, like the floor creak.
Nah,
For
it's
a
this
second.
chair. This chair is super creaky. Solar Dragon says, I thought he was a Q at first. There's a lot of characters that in TNG that seem sort of Q-like at first.
Everybody's got fish on this ship. Who feeds the fish? Do the fish feed
The
themselves?
fish feed themselves, Adam. Well, the fish tank does all of its cleaning and fish feeding itself. I don't know why week after week you have to ask me all the same. You have to ask me the exact same question.
I refuse to for the same reason that I refuse to stop the Enterprise.
Why do we need repairmen? Why can't the ship repair itself?
So he has an absolute not to kill. I find that interesting. But also, I want to know why the Enterprise doesn't go look for the Huznok.
The Huznok.
Because they killed it.
But the way he says it, he says, the Huznok.
Because they destroyed a colony of 11,000 people. They have to go find this race they've never heard of.
Murder them. He killed them all, Brandon. They're all gone. There are no more Huznok.
Yeah, there's no more Huznok. It was genocide. You know what genocide means, Brandon? It means kill all of them.
Yes, that's right.
I forgot about that part.
I forgot about that too.
But I'm not insane
He could
anymore.
bring them back too, right?
He went insane.
No, I don't think he's like omnipotent. I don't think he's at, like,
he
a
could,
Q
because he couldn't bring
level.
her back. He only broke back a fake copy of
Right,
her. You
he
know,
can make a
facsimile.
construct, yeah, but he can't raise anybody from the dead.
Oh, now she's wearing the blue jacket.
She's
must
had
have
it most
heard
of the
this
episode.
complaining, Jay.
Yeah, she's had it almost this whole episode. But not at the beginning for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not allowed to wear those on the bridge.
The bridge.
Except you are, because there's episodes
Oh.
where they do.
Everywhere.
Wow, your can keeps appearing and disappearing. Because it keeps chroming it out.
Crusher's about to cry.
Quit using up so much energy site to site transporting a can.
This guy is a
That
really weird
is,
voice.
again, a super TOS notion. Like, this could have been an original series episode. When he says, you know, is the destruction of an entire people worth the love of a woman? That sounds like a thing that somebody would have said in TOS.
All of his S's.
In a climax. In
Every single
the big
word with an S. His
ethical
actor
conundrum scene at the
pronounces
end.
SH. Did you notice that?
Uh-uh.
Every single word with an S, he pronounces with an SH. Instead of an S. He goes.
It's just more formal that way. He's a real formal guy.
So this entity, Picard
there
realizes
goes.
that this is an entity that he can have no control over. Period. Like that, there's nothing that can fit this. I find it a real interesting moment for the test of Picard's resolve and, you know, his sense of loyalty and duty to Starfleet Protocol.
So
I mean, what would he
would've
do though? Like,
not-
Like he can't do anything, and it's kind of really.
so what does that have to do
interesting.
with loyalty?
Like, he's going to talk to Starfleet, and certainly Starfleet's going to balk it. Like, why did you leave this entity here?
I don't think they will. I think he'll say, I couldn't do anything, and they'll be
What's
like...
he gonna do? He can't stop him.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
But also, like, he has... So
not
Snodgrass is still there. She's the script consultant right now. She's gonna leave by the end of the season. Maybe by the middle. I can't remember. But anyway, but no, I mean, I just don't know what else he would have done.
There's nothing he could do.
So this guy would not have been the answer for standard replicator, both because he was omnipotent or non-corporeal, and because he didn't sleep with Riker,
and because he's in third season, and because he's a man,
and because he's a man.
Mm-hmm. The standard replicator choice today was not a man.
So Rashawn was a creation of him, she was also non-corporeal.
She wasn't nothing. She wasn't real.
Yeah,
That's true.
Well, she was. It would be
Don't
an
tell me it didn't
extension of
happen.
him.
I say it's real. It's a fake. It's real. It's a fake. Anyway, okay, I want to take a quick break. I need to run off for just a couple of minutes. I'll be right back. You guys, if you want to, feel free to field a question or two if anybody puts in a question, or if you guys need to take a break, we can do that as well.
I think
everybody
I need
give
to take
me
a quick break.
Yeah, okay,
but,
that's cool.
Yeah,
We can come back at it here very shortly.
Okay, so folks, if anybody, I need to get the logo, the like a larger version of the logo on here so I can just fill the screen with it, but I can't do that right now. So anybody in the comments, if anybody pops in and is like, hey, where are they? We'll be right back in like 3 minutes. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right. Wow, that timing was amazing.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, wow. I mean, Brandon's not hitting back yet, but...
You want to see something cool?
Yeah.
Watch this.
Oh, you're going to switch to another background?
Yeah, one second. That. I didn't save that one.
I can't wait to see something cool!
I don't think I have it. Darn it.
Well, folks, we're going to spin the wheel here again in just a minute. If Brandon doesn't get back here in a couple of seconds, I think we'll go ahead and spin the wheel and then go ahead and get on to a discussion topic for just a couple of minutes. We're running a little bit late, so I don't want to talk for too long before we do our second episode.
Right. Ryan.
Yeah, I don't know what's taking Brandon so long, but why don't we go ahead and spin the wheel and get our second episode up. Oh, he's coming back. We'll wait for him. He's almost here. Well, everybody, I hope you've been having a good time tonight in Star Trek Club. We're going to see if we can get a different kind of episode this time. I mean, I've been really enjoying all the TNG, but I'm kind of hoping for something else just for the sake of variety this time.
Right.
I'm wondering if we should have maybe had, like, multiple wheels or something, but I kind of like doing it this way.
Multiple wheels of Star Trek?
Yeah, we're just, one for every series or something. I don't know. But then that wouldn't be as much fun, though, because you'd be like, okay, now we're going to have definitely a DS9 episode. I don't know.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Now he's on the holodeck.
I should have said computer in program.
You could have a wheel. You could have a wheel of 5 categories that had TOS, Enterprise, or Enterprise,
it's too complicated.
TOS, and then the other wheel would have.
It's too complicated.
I'm on the shuttle bay.
I mean, you're right. You could do that, but eh. Okay, are you? Would you please stop citing? You're using up so much energy.
Cards, Mima.
All right, it's time to spin the wheel again. Are you guys ready to find out what we get?
Yes.
What are you hoping for, Adam?
What is on there? I can't see it so small.
Your head's so large on the screen.
Yeah.
Let's find out. Here we go.
Do it.
Impact Nor!
Nor!
Oh man! It's okay. It really sucks that Sarah's not able to be here.
You like this episode a lot?
Yeah, this is her pick. This is one of her favorite DS9 episodes. I'm gonna double check and just make sure she doesn't want to come down. You guys bear with me for just a minute. I'm gonna throw a question to you guys and let you guys get started talking.
Is Jason still on?
Yeah, but I want to go talk to her. So, what are you laughing at me for?
Nothing.
I just want to go talk to my wife. Just give me a second.
I'm not laughing at you.
Anyway, so let me throw this question to you guys. Pick a race, a species that only appears once or twice that you would have really liked to have seen come back a lot more, and that was kind of surprising that they didn't.
Do Nausicaans count?
No, Nausicaans show up a lot. We could have done more with them.
Yeah.
Certainly.
More with them, certainly.
But yeah, see if anybody in the comments has anything, and you guys throw a couple out, and I'll be right back.
Okay. But do you remember the Chalna?
What were the Chalna from?
I think that's what they were called, Chalna. That was either the planet or what their species was. That was the guy that was the scary-looking guy in the episode where they take the card, and there's 3 other people, and then they put the fake Picard on the.
Yeah, so I was thinking of that episode when I was thinking the Nausicaan. But no, someone said the
He
Elorians.
looks like a Nausicaan.
Yeah, we should have done more with Elorians too. We got Dr. Tullian, Soren, and Guinan.
So and then there was one other guy in Deep Space Nine that we got in this weird episode where they're like, he competes with Quark and opens this weird gambling establishment across the promenade, and has these little machines that they micro change the universe, somehow affect things on a quantum level.
Oh,
based on luck. It was weird. I can't remember what that one's called.
I can think of 4 species I would have liked to have seen more from.
Wow,
4. The Malon.
Well, the Malon we got somewhat frequently.
We got them twice, right?
4 or 5 times. They kept coming back, yeah.
And they were in there way long after they shouldn't have been. It was in that season that Voyager was thrown, where they, hop skip 5,000 light years every 5 episodes or whatever.
Yeah. No, it was ridiculous. We kept finding them. Yeah.
Well, the hierarchy we only got twice.
Again, we could have. Yeah, I don't know what else you would have done with the hierarchy necessarily.
No, but I would have liked to have seen them again. That would have been kind of fun.
Well, the problem is, I mean, when you say again, do you mean in the middle? Because the hierarchy show up in the second to last episode of Voyager.
Yes, in the middle. Yeah.
But like
Another
we
time
only
at
do
least.
them in kind of comedy episodes. Like, I don't know, would you want like a really serious hierarchy episode? I just don't know what else you would have done with them. And the second time we got them, it was really lame. Like,
I know who I would have liked to seen again, but I don't know if it would have been as creepy. The aliens from Schism. I would have liked to know more about them.
Maybe so, yeah.
But
just
then it
make
would have
them
ruined the creepiness.
the mystique of it, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you with hierarchy. It's just I don't know what you
don't know
would have
what
done
we
with
would've
them.
with them, sure.
Yeah, like
And
hierarchy. It seems like would have been on my list if we only had them in Tinker, or Dr. Spine, because we did them a second time and it sucked. It's hard for me not to be like. I
So
don't know about
maybe
them.
if we done something different. With
Who else
How
did you
about
have?
that?
But I don't know what. Is
The
this a-
Cytherians. The
Yeah,
floating heads.
and like the Cytherians come back a lot in extra media. Like,
Do they really?
yeah,
That's
or at least they
cool.
get talked about. And like, there's a whole novel about them.
And some people think the Cytherian is what the
God
god
from
in
Star
Star
Trek
Trek
V, yeah.
5 is.
Right. Yes. And then the Binars, of course. It would have been cool to revisit the Binars
It's
at
weird.
least once.
It's weird we didn't do more with them.
And of course the aliens from Conspiracy that we've brought up before. We would like.
It
to
drives
see
me
that
insane that we
storyline
never brought them
involved.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
John Ty brings up the Gorn, which is kind of my big definitive answer. You'd think we would have had. Like you would think they'd be recurring in TNG. That seems like
Right.
a species we would have done stuff with. It's also weird that we didn't do more Andorian stuff before Enterprise.
Right. Would you like to have seen more Breen after Deep Space
Yeah.
Nine?
Yeah, I would have, because they're also super mysterious, and I don't know. a
They're
lot about
weird.
them.
Yeah.
Never turn your back on Breen.
A lot of I hesitate saying too many bad guy species because we take the teeth away of so many of them when we do bring them back. That like the ones that stay interesting and mysterious, or at least kind of scary, at least kind of menacing, are the ones that we should have brought back but didn't.
Right.
Like the only ones that, or at least a lot of the only ones that didn't get ruined, especially with later shows, are the ones that we kind of missed an opportunity for, and maybe that was for the best. Because 8472 we absolutely ruined.
That was my
Just
first
completely
example.
ruined. Yeah.
Dan and Q, we
Voyager-
took his teeth away.
And I wouldn't even say teeth so much as just we kept reinventing him. We kept changing him. You know
Yeah,
what I
he
mean?
became more of a comic, character.
The problem wasn't making him more sympathetic and making him like care about Picard, because stuff like Tapestry is great. Like that's not the problem. The problem is he just became a joke,
Right.
and not a funny joke.
And even in his first appearance in Voyager, he wasn't that way. But then later on, when they brought him back, he got more.
No, Death Wish is real consistent.
Right.
But anyway, well, we got some good questions earlier from some of the audience pre-written before the show started. Might go to some of those next week. Right now, we're going to go ahead and get into the next episode. We got Impact Nor. I'm bummed out that Sarah's not going to be able to watch it with us, but she's got a deadline. Yeah, I mean, she's going to have it on the background upstairs, but she's not going to be able to be here and talk with us, which really kind of sucks. But she told me not to respin the wheel, to go ahead and do it. So we're going to go ahead and do it. So, I didn't...
Because we did build that caveat in there.
Yeah, we could have respun it, but she was like, "Nah, go ahead and do it." And
what season is it?
This way, I think it's 6. I think it's 6. I'm gonna check. But this way, also, we're not doing another TNG episode because we've been doing nothing but TNG so far. So, yeah.
Oh, look, there's Time's Orphan. One day.
Just stop. Just stop. I swear to God, if you bring that up again, I'm not talking to you anymore. We just can't be friends.
Impact Nor, where are you? There it is. It's season 5.
Is it 5?
Episode 4.
Wow, I thought it was 6 because my wife and I were watching through 6 and 7 of DS9 when we first started dating, because it was the 2 seasons we got our hands on for real cheap.
Yeah.
Love it.
And well, what season?
What episode of 5?
24.
Oh, 24. I thought you said 4.
I thought you said 4.
He must have cut out if we both heard that. Yeah.
So did
How dare you?
What season is it that Ducat has his little cult on Impact Nor?
That's
is that season
7.
6? That's 7. Okay.
Isn't it, or is it 6?
I think it's
boy,
6.
I'm rusty. I thought it was 7. You may be right though. Okay, so Impact Nor. episode 24 of season 5. We'll give everybody just a couple of minutes to pull it up. I don't know if you've ever seen this, Brandon.
Maybe once if I have.
This is a real horror-y kind of episode. Kind of a hunter-prey kind of thing. Cat and mouse chase.
Yes.
I'm assuming involving the Cardassians.
Garrick specifically. Garrick goes kind of nuts and tries to kill everybody on a sister station that looks just like Terok Nor, but is slanty. It's all sideways.
Kind of sideways. It has one of my favorite Nog moments in this episode when he looks out that airlock when the runabout goes floating away. It's like, oh, that's not right, or something like that. He said something like that.
Noah says this is technically the first DS9 episode he's watching, so that's pretty cool. This is not a horrible first DS9 episode to watch, just because it's not heavily too much involved in any of the main goings-on right now in the season, and it's a standalone episode. It will reveal a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't know if you were watching from the beginning. So, like, you would, you're going to have it ruined for you that Nog becomes a Starfleet officer and stuff like that. But it is a really good one-off. And has a real, I would say, kind of first contact feel to it.
Yeah. And because they reused, is this the first time they reused the spacesuits from First Contact, or did they use
Voyager
that Voyager?
Did it earlier than this.
Is that when like Tom and B'Elanna are like?
They used it at least twice in season 4. But is that at the same time as the? I'm trying to get my dates worked out. That would have still been before this, right?
Would have been at the same time. Yeah. Let me think here.
I guess they're just the thing is, right after First Contact, they used everything they built in that movie so often. You just saw everything constantly. But
this
we just watched
at season 3 of Voyager.
Oh,
it was 2 years.
Okay, well then you would be right. This would be the first time we used those spacesuits. Another episode in season 4 that uses them is Prey. Remember Hunters and Prey? Prey uses those. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Get it timestamp 0, Impak Nor, episode 24 of season 5. Are you excited, Brandon?
I am. I'm excited for how much Star Trek I've been watching again lately.
Yeah.
With the episodes with you and Sarah that are not part of this, and with this, the Trek Club again.
Yeah.
Like, it's about time I started watching Star Trek again. It's only one of my favorite ever television shows.
No, it's been great, and this is going to be a massive contrast to the episode we just watched. Although, there were kind of some slight foreboding sort of horror elements in that last episode. Some things about that struck me as sort of Stephen King-y. This is not that as much. This is more of like an alien vibe. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Everybody, please press play right now. Hum, 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 hum.
There's Morn.
Jason, if you're watching right now, that's Morn. He was asking me the other day who Morn is. So the episode you were asking me about, who mourns for Morn, that's Morn. Everybody thinks he dies, and they mourn for him. That's a great episode.
He gets his own episode. That's hilarious.
I may put that on the wheel next time I get to pick one. Yeah. That's a good episode.
What is that?
I don't remember this at all. Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, a lot of these teasers, and we've talked about this a lot, Adam, but, like, especially in TNG, but in other shows, too, like, I won't always remember what teaser goes with what episode.
So they went to a different restaurant on DS9. I didn't realize they had more than one.
It's a huge station.
They got the Klingon restaurant. They had the Replimat, which is like the automat for replicators.
Which is awesome. Just that
the
they call it
Klingon restaurant, we see the chef of the Klingon restaurant in like in that episode Melora. I don't think he ever appears in any other episodes besides that.
David, you're absolutely right about that. He says, say hello to all these main cast members. They're not in the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point to make to Noah, too, because he hasn't seen any DS9. And so a lot of the characters that you're going to be seeing this episode. And this is one of those DS9 episodes that's about recurring cast members, but not mainstays.
Right.
And DS9 does that a lot because we really start to blur the line, especially later by this point, between main cast and one-offs, or not one-offs, but recurring. This show does not care about that, and it's really nice. Just all the characters that get their own episodes that are not in, their names aren't in the opening credits.
Look what's there, Jay. The clock. Cisco makes in that episode when he goes,
oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
Beta Matrix composite.
This show has such a good sense of continuity.
So it was a plasma conduit that kind of erupted in their faces, like they're alive for that?
Yeah, they're fine. Well, I don't think it was plasma.
What did he
Well,
say
okay,
it
I
was?
say this isn't about main cast. It's about a main cast member and then some other characters, which is what
Yeah,
I guess
probably
what we
the default.
usually do with that. But O'Brien's a major player in this episode, of course, and he becomes the mouse in the cat and mouse game. This is O'Brien versus Garrick. David says it's weird going back to early DS9 Cisco with hair. Yeah, anytime you watch all the way through this and then go back, that's always strange. And it was always a
the only
mistake.
reason why they did that is because they didn't want him to look like how he looked on
Spencer for Hire.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a show I've never seen.
I've never seen it either. And then he had his own spinoff called A Man Called Hawk briefly.
I forgot
never
all
seen that
about
either.
that. Or I've heard of that, but maybe I didn't realize that's what that was. I didn't know that was a spinoff for that show.
Yes, that was his character on that show called Hawk.
We should watch one of those sometime.
I don't know where you can find it. It's one of those weird things where, shows where you can't find.
Oh, we'll find it. We'll find it, Adam.
We'll find
We
it.
can find anything.
That
I will find it!
IMDb TV has a lot of old things on it.
So nobody be surprised if
after
the
a
bowling
certain
and dies,
point,
because it's
whenever they show the
bowling.
runabouts, they never have the little blast shutter open so you can see the windows on the sides. I don't know why. Like, was it that hard for them to animate the things behind there?
Hate to disappoint you, Machete, but
I don't know.
the only thing you're gonna be using that for? Shooting bowls.
I never thought of that.
Door's been abandoned so long.
So
Bowls.
anybody that's not familiar with DS9, just know that none of these are characters we've ever seen before. I don't think.
Look, there's a
And,
guy that's like Trip Tucker, but not Trip Tucker.
Don't be surprised if none of them make it out alive. I
Nah.
think maybe one of them make. No, I think they all die, don't
They
they?
really got the. They really, yeah, I think they do. They really got all of the props out for First Contact, didn't they?
Yes. They're like, this is what Star Trek looks like now. Well, and keep in mind, this would have been this. Is this the season where they switch uniforms? It is. I will say though, those uniforms fit some of these sets a lot better.
They do. I like that episode when they find the Bashir at the Dominion prison camp, and he still has the old uniform on, just as a little continuity of how
Isn't that
long he's
cool?
been there and stuff.
Yeah. That episode is amazing. That's some of the best writing in the show, I think. That's not even
Yeah.
one of my favorite episodes. It's just really, really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
David says this is 6 months after First Contact. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that would have been in the
sure to-
fall, early part of this season.
And this is what everybody thinks of as like the apex of Star Trek's popularity.
Yeah.
This is the sweet spot when you had First Contact had just come out, and you had Voyager and DS9 both on at the same time, and Voyager would finally start to get really popular very shortly after that, and
Right.
DS9 too with bringing on Worf. Once you had Worf in 7, everything was in really good shape,
Yeah.
and then Insurrection happened.
So DS9 is an absolutely awesome space station, like looking space station. Like I would totally go to a space station like that all day long. Like I think I could live on a place like that out in the middle of space.
Alexander Siddig, who is usually typecast as villains, but then got to
Right.
be the Doctor on a Star Trek show for 7 seasons, and then went right back to playing mostly villains.
There's the wormhole, Jason.
His real name is Siddig Affadel,
Yes.
which I didn't know until I got a grab bag at a convention that had a little like 3x5 picture with his autograph on it. So I have his autograph as Siddig Affadal, but I've never met him.
Nice.
Well, and they credit him like that in the first couple of seasons of this show, on the opening titles.
Yes, as Siddig Affadal, yeah.
Yeah.
And so anybody
What the
paying
heck is
attention,
his game? What
wait,
is
why
it?
is he playing a game with Hershey Kisses?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, what is that weird game?
Well, remember, Garrick's going to talk about it the whole episode. This is that game that he and O'Brien end up playing together, and it's supposed to be a strategy
That's
game,
great.
like kind of a Risk sort of thing. And they're talking about all throughout this game in relation to the battles that O'Brien was in, where he killed Cardassians that we find out about in
Right.
The Wounded.
And that's a good throwback to, callback to, The Wounded and
Yep.
stuff, which is an episode I always really like.
And he just
There
mentioned
it is,
Set Like
right there,
3,
Set Like
yeah. I mean,
3.
really good, again, sense of continuity.
He called it Kotra, Kotra.
Yep.
I always thought the runabouts were really cool. Like, they were, like, very modular. Like, you could swap out parts of them and stuff, I thought that was a really neat design.
So when you and Dr. Bashir go into the holosuites for hours at a time, you're just repairing them? What's your point?
It's really interesting that Garrick's getting under his skin so hard here, even before he starts getting
Right.
mind altered. I mean, he's always messing with people,
Yes.
but it makes you kind of wonder just how Garrick feels about O'Brien. Like, if he actually is bothered by him, has a problem with him, or if he's just really intrigued by his psychology. And I tend to think it's the second thing.
I think it's the latter.
Yeah.
I don't think he's
I don't think
really
Garrick's
offended
really
by
somebody to
O'Brien.
hold a lot of grudges. He
No,
doesn't
I don't.
seem-
I don't think he does either, except for with Ducat.
Except for Ducat.
Everybody does with Ducat. Yeah,
You're right.
Is this
about that.
doesn't this guy look like Trip Tucker?
a little bit. Yeah, except I wish he had Trip Tucker's hair, because his hair looks
Yeah.
goofy.
Except Trip Tucker has weird bleached blonde tips at some parts, like highlights and some parts
Yeah,
of the
that dated it a little bit. But not any more than TOS's, female hairstyles.
Yes.
With the checkerboard, with Yeoman Ran and stuff.
Oh God.
It always looked like the women in that show took longer to get their hair and makeup done than, like, Klingons in TNG.
Yes.
On a full scan. I'll take the helm.
Impact Noir.
Supply and life support systems are offline.
See, it's sideways.
Yes.
There's no reason for it to be. They should be adjusting their attitude to.
Uh-huh.
Sideways.
No, it's really silly.
It's just
It
you want to
looks
show
cool.
something is like offline. You've got to show it out of kilter, right?
And to be fair, that's how we've always done that in Star Trek. And
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, they're never good at like. Space has a top, Jay, and a bottom. Didn't you know that?
it's
This
maybe
is the
a
top
little
of
bit
space.
tongue-in-cheek
This
about
is
it.
the
I don't know.
This is the bottom of space. Everything is oriented the same way.
I'm the only one who has a chance.
The booby traps on the station are really smart and really believable.
Yeah.
So this is kind of amazing. Just like there's this dead space station just hanging
I
out
wish
here in space.
You know, this was remastered, but no.
I know. So it's pretty grainy.
That would look great.
But yeah, it's those spacesuits.
Look at that.
I'm going to argue
it just-
that maybe they should have... I mean, I get that they're not going to spend money on this probably, but like if they've already got something laying around, but like... I don't know. Maybe there could be some, like, Cardassian spacesuits, because it'd be cool to see what those look like. I mean, I guess if you're on the Defiant, you'd be using whatever Starfleet has, but it'd be cool if at some point we could have seen what that looked like.
Right.
So
I wonder if they've used these props before. These little tubes.
Probably, because we do stasis
did a
in a
lot.
number of places, so, I
Right.
mean, you almost want to look at the couple of episodes of Voyager where we did stasis tubes and see if they did that. But they tried to make that look not too Starfleet, so
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, so this is going to be a real isolation horror, which we do a fair number of times in Star Trek overall. I think this is probably the best example of it, or at least my favorite example of it.
Right.
if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
these space stations are powered by miniature stars. So Like
wait, what?
Their fusion generators.
Their fusion reactor.
Yeah, so he's
Okay.
just turned on fusion reactors by pulling a couple of levers. I want this.
Look,
known.
it's the future, Brandon.
They're
just, it's really efficient, the process.
It must be.
And yeah, no, that's what I was saying earlier. This does feel very alien inspired.
And also, the whole thing was completely powered down, including the computers that supposedly operated that cryostasis chamber. So, I feel like they should have been able to scan that there was one life form on board.
Jay, would you characterize this as a bottle episode, even though it's not technically the same space station?
Yes, this is a bottle episode as much as Mirror Mirror is a bottle episode,
Yes.
right? We go someplace else, but or like Tholium Web or something, right? Like
Right.
it's a different ship, but
Right.
I've said this before.
Actually, it's been a while since I've seen Tholium Web. I guess most of that actually is on the Enterprise and not the sister ship, though, right?
Right. Just
Okay.
yeah, most of it's on. I mean, it's like half and half.
Okay.
feel like.
Tell me if this is a stretch. I mean, yeah, no, that's too much of a stretch. I'm not gonna say that. I almost said that this is kind of more alien inspired and Macrocosm is kind of more Predator inspired, but I guess Macrocosm is actually also more like Alien, and then you bring in the Herosian and we do Predator stuff with the Herosian.
That's Predator stuff.
Yeah. Because the Herosian are just the Predator that
Yes.
with like where you can understand their language.
Understand that, yeah. Isn't there another species kind of like the Predator that also has like the invisibility thing too? Well, Jem'Hadar, I guess, but there's somebody else, and I can't remember who it is.
The Breen do it, don't they?
They might.
Or do they not?
And I guess that thing in Darmok does.
So it's a little surprising that we never had a regular Bolian on a show.
I know, they
Because
never
we
did it.
loved putting it in the background all the time in TNG, and we would sometimes give them speaking roles in TNG through Voyager.
Right.
And you had like Mott the
You had
Barber, who appeared a
Mott
couple
and
times. You had
Shell.
Shell. But we never, even the recurring ones, we never really did a whole lot with. And we don't know anything about their society.
You
at
even
all,
had a
really.
Bolian in Insurrection, that guy at the beginning. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
Horse Islow, or whatever his name was.
I guess the only real opportunity to do a regular one would have been DS9 or Voyager. You know, they could have, like, introduced... Well, again, the ones that they introduced, they could have kept around and just done stuff with.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's not like they were getting new people on Voyager. They didn't do enough on that show to like bring back the random people you would see. It's not a big ship.
no, and what sucked about the Bolian in that show was he came from the Equinox, and it would have been cool to do
Oh,
more
yeah, there was that
with
guy.
the
There's the
Equinox
line.
characters.
He
Yeah.
goes, that's not right.
Was that even a different character than Shell, or was that Shell?
That was a different character. Chell came from he was a Maquis.
Oh, that's right.
And he was one of those guys that Tuvok had the whip into shape in that episode where they're wearing that weird outfit you never see again.
Which, yeah. And that reminds me of something David said a minute ago. He was talking about Lower Decks and said this kind of feels like that in that it focuses on the lower ranked team, away team members. I gotta see what you're saying, only in that it gives these, like, I don't think it's focusing on it in the sense of here's like a day in the life or like what these people's lives are like so much versus the regular crew members. Like it feels like they're just here so that we have some people to kind of pick off throughout the episode. Voyager tried a Lower Decks type thing with that kind of token episode that felt like it was just there to react to audience members saying, hey, just what Adam said.
Right.
We never see all these people that live here and aren't main cast. Why don't we do it? So Janeway just takes them on an away on an away mission, almost like for charity or something, and it's not great.
Right. I feel like in that show also, like they were stuck out there for 7 years. I feel like everybody should have started to age a little bit. Like you still saw people that look like they were in like their early 20s on that show, even in season 7. They should have all been like close to 30 probably by that point, you know? The youngest people.
Yeah, but I mean, what would you do? Cake him up in makeup or something? I mean, like it didn't move in real time.
Cast different actors. I mean, I'm talking about like the extras and
Oh, the
stuff.
extras. Okay,
Yeah, and
I see what you're
the
saying.
minor crew members that they would bring in.
Oh, because we're not using all the same actors. We're just bringing in people. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It could have had a lot of continuity. Like, they could have been like Deep Space Nine, and had
it should
all
have been
these minor characters and stuff.
Yeah.
It's such a small ship. This station's way bigger than any ship, and yet they were able to have all these great, reoccurring characters that they would bring in.
Yeah, it felt like a living, breathing town, and they always talked about the show like it was like a Western in space, but Voyager should have had that to some degree.
Right.
Because you're right, it's a small ship, and you never move people in and out. Like, what was Voyager's crew complement? Like 150
like
or
something like that.
Was it
maybe
more than that?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more, but it was small.
Because TOS, the Constitution Enterprise was only like, what, 350, 400?
It was like 450 or something like that.
That's right. And then NX-01 was
like, I'm responsible for 450 lives.
And then NX-01, I think, was like 87. I think it was less than 100.
Ridiculous, yeah. Yeah, but there's characters on this show that were more developed than the characters on Voyager and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
main characters, like.
Cardassian makeup always looks super creepy in the dark.
Yes.
Like, it's the perfect species to do this kind of episode with.
They probably could have done it with Jim Hadar, too, and that would have been probably creepy also.
This is another one of those episodes from this period that I can't help but think about Elite Force.
Oh,
when
yeah.
I watch, because this feels like it should just be a level in Elite Force.
I think I had a demo of Elite Force.
Mm-hmm. It was the Voyager FPS that was based on Quake. You used the Quake engine.
Good.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I've still got a port on the PS2. It's too much of just a straight lift of the PC version, and it doesn't play as well with a controller.
I played it again
with a controller.
I played it again a few years ago. I put it like a Windows either 2000 or XP in like an emulator and installed it that way because it won't work with like modern stuff. And it still looks good.
Yeah, for being 20 years old.
Yeah.
We should play that sometime.
There's a really cool level where like it's like mirror universe people from the original series, and then they've like made an alliance with like Klingons and stuff trapped in like that void. So they've like mashed the Constitution class ship with like a bird of prey and stuff, and it was really cool looking.
David says it would be interesting to take what the crew count of Voyager was and go through the series and see how many actual different crew members we see. That's been done, and I think the Star Trek Encyclopedia had a list of every named character in that show and how many of them died.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine feels, I think, of all like the Star Trek series, I always felt the most like cinematic to me and like the most realized version of a universe.
Absolutely.
Oh,
It just comes charging through a window.
There's a guy that dies in this really weird, like the way he dies is just odd. Oh.
This is all shot super well, but I'm gonna argue it's a little too dark. We really should have put a little bit more light on this.
And it might have looked better if it went remastered too. We might be losing some of the fidelity.
We'll never know. Yeah,
we'll never know.
No, it looks like a lot of episodes of Buffy.
Did that bullying guy die yet? Because he dies real weird, like the way he's like the sound he makes.
So I think that's the first one that we've lost.
Yeah,
but we've been talking over this. So I haven't been paying great attention. I've seen this episode a million times.
It's just interesting to me that even after they realize that there are two Cardassians loose on board, and they see that their shuttlecraft has, that they're still splitting up.
Yeah,
I feel like standard Starfleet protocol
together.
Stick together. Yeah.
That's a thing we never do. Put a sheet on a person in Star
Except
Trek.
that one, except in Night Terrors. Is that the one where?
Did we do it in Night Terrors?
There's Crusher. They're in the morgue with all the dead people from the Brittain, and
That's right.
they all sit up.
Yeah, and then she hallucinates them all popping up. Yeah. I like that scene a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star Trek has a surprising number of kind of, horror-esque episodes.
If we don't send out a signal, we're never going to get off this.
But we do every kind of genre of story in Star Trek.
You can do this. Don't worry, I'll watch.
This show's got a great. This episode's got a great sense of suspense and of sense of urgency.
Baseball episode, for God's sake.
That's on the list. I put that on the wheel.
In the Ocean's 11 heist episode we were talking about earlier.
Wait, which one?
The one. Which one is that? Is it Bada Bang, Bada Bing?
Oh yeah, right. Which is hard to fully appreciate because it all takes place on a holodeck with like a bunch of non-living holograms in Vic Fontaine, but
Yes. You know a good Garrick episode that I don't think I've ever watched with you? Is The Wire.
Let me guess. You're gonna say The Wire, right? Yeah.
He's looking directly into the camera for this shot, and it works. Because he's looking down, and it's great.
And also because he's just got the most expressive face.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful as Garrick.
Kill a few cardios.
This is the first sense you get that he's starting to lose it.
Yeah.
And I think O'Brien is immediately kind of getting it, where it's like, oh crap, he's being affected.
He's gone nuts.
Yeah. This tension is wonderful. This is one of those episodes where it is a mind-altering thing, and it doesn't feel like a cop-out. It feels like we're still telling a real story, and that you would have to do that to get Garrick to that place, because he's not that guy. That's not who Garrick is.
That's not who he is. That's because you're stupid.
And the fact that it takes a mind-altering drug like that suggests that O'Brien was wrong in The Wounded when he was, kind of lumping all the Cardassians together and being kind of racist about it, right? Like, obviously they're not all the same.
Apparently not.
So, he's also... I don't know if it comes up later in the episode if they make mention of it. He's also scratching himself, kind of like a crazy person would do, but I wonder if, he's actually that's part of the character, or if that's just his makeup was scratchy today.
No. That's
I think it's part of the reaction from this drug.
The drug that's affecting him.
It's causing him to feel. Yeah.
That would make sense.
Most drugs in Star Trek make you scratch your face.
That's true.
That does happen a lot. Jason doesn't understand what's happening in this episode. Hey, Adam, could you explain this to Jason? Could you explain?
Garrick's going crazy because there's some drug on this on the station affecting him and the rest of these Cardassians. And there's also Cardassians loose.
It's a wonderful-looking console that they built for this.
Yeah, I always thought the Cardassian stuff looked really neat.
For the station, yeah. Cardassian just infrastructure.
I like how that one's just offline and not working right.
I think that's the top of the console, the tube. Is it the broken tube?
Yes.
Yeah, and then it has a panel that's on, but just has dots on it. I mean, that's a nice sense of detail.
Yes. I always like the Cardassian phaser.
And you stay sympathetic with Garrick because, of course, he's trying to keep his sanity, and he's, trying to help his friends on this mission. Friends. And he also keeps his ingenuity, and I don't know. I feel like you get kind of a flash of the more devious Garrick that you would have had or during the occupation.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some interesting novels written about Garrick during that period. I've always wanted to look into that and see what's been written about that.
I don't remember reading any specific ones of Deep Space Nine, but I don't feel like I've read as many of the Deep Space Nine as I did like the Next Generation ones.
I have a bunch of them now, but I haven't.
Or the original series.
Yeah, but I haven't read them. It seems like authors were really fascinated by that period, and like there's a lot of literature written in the occupation period. I mean, you imagine there could be a whole show there, right? Like, what's it like when Ducat's running things on the station? Like, of course there's a show there.
Right.
It would be horrifying and
Bajoran Resistance show, yeah.
Yeah. Well, those would be the same show, I think. You just cut back and forth.
Yeah, the same show, right.
There's a group on
Ooh, that would be a cool idea. You jump back and forth episode to episode. Like one episode is from the Cardassians' perspective, and the next one is from the Bajorans' perspective. That would be really cool. So,
there's a group on Facebook called Attention Bajoran Workers. And it's basically like a Star Trek meme posting group, and it's kind of hilarious.
That's the episode we watched the other day, Jay.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
before we were broadcasting.
It's got a picture of him on the screen, on the oval looking screen. Yeah. Somebody invited me to it. I haven't accepted it. I probably should. So many groups on Facebook posting memes. Memes are the future.
Once bought a suit from Garrett?
And the present.
I think this is when this guy dies.
I mean, as soon as a guy starts telling a really benign story about the guy who's losing it and turning into a crazy person, yeah, he's gonna die.
So they set up a lot of mystery in this episode by looking through tiny cracks in areas, which I think is kind of an interesting way to highlight Cardassians in general, in the shadows.
Yeah, I mean, they're real traditional kind of Hitchcock shots, I think. Yeah, this stuff through... Yeah, that's so Hitchcockian. And one thing I've always really appreciated about this episode is that we're shooting these sets. I mean, obviously this is supposed to be a different station, but obviously we didn't rebuild them. We've never seen it shot like this.
Right.
And in a show that gets real dark and creepy and rough and tumble, like there are some other episodes where we, lose power and turn off a lot of lights and stuff, but we never did this.
Or that weird episode where Bashir is like an old man or whatever and stuff. He's getting like old. I can't remember what that is.
Oh, I don't remember that either.
It's like not.
I don't remember that either.
I think it's like in his brain. Oh, look.
Yeah, that one's weird. But yeah, if you think about it, like, yes, this is a bottle show, like you were saying before, but we're using the set in a way that it would have always been cool to use it because, we like again, like I was talking about earlier, I'm thinking about Macrocosm, where you kind of turn Voyager into like a first-person shooter set. You have a lot more space on the station, and you've got a lot more things to hide behind and nooks and crannies and stuff.
Right. Oh, this is the darkest part. Here it is.
Yeah, this is pretty rough. This isn't a coil spell. Like, he saves him, and then he kills him. That's... Oh, man.
Flux couple.
Oh, man, that line delivery is amazing. God.
Isn't that the thing that Nog went... Or not Nog, that he went back to go get on the shuttle?
I don't think so.
What did he say that he left there?
I don't remember, Brandon. We've been talking over this episode, man.
I think it was that.
What's going on up there?
What was your question, Brandon?
So
he
goes,
thinks the thing that he just killed him with was the thing Nog went back for, and I don't think it is.
Oh, no.
The flux coupler.
I thought it was a spanner or something. I don't remember.
He's out there. Easy. Who's out there? Garrett. He stabbed me.
Uh-oh.
Just enough time to reveal.
Yeah. We do this kind of deaths a lot in Star Trek.
Because he's crazy.
And in television. Really. Where somebody gets a line out right before they die.
True.
That's a big
What's
TV
your
trope.
favorite Torture O'Brien episode? Because I guess this is kind of a Torture O'Brien episode.
It is. It's true. Boy, I mean, there's so many of them.
Yeah, there are.
Does the one with the mob boss guy that he works for count?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
There's the one where he has to kill himself at the end because it's like he sees Deep Space Nine gets destroyed and stuff.
That one's crazy. Yeah, because there's also a subcategory of O'Brien doubles episodes.
Yeah,
there's a couple of those.
And that one where it's the double strong, double sweet. That Jamaica blend where it's like he's the duplicate or whatever the whole episode, and everybody's acting weird toward him, and then it's revealed at the end. That episode's great. And then the one where he's in prison for 20 minutes. It's like the anti Inner Light, basically.
Which was partial inspiration for the plot device I did in Spawn Year.
Oh yeah.
Where I had an entire year happen in my head in 2 hours.
And then he goes to jail or gets put on trial in Cardassia.
That one's awesome. Yeah. If that maybe that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Now, the one you were talking about because I can't remember the ending, where he sees himself die, is that the same episode where he's where there's him 5 minutes in the future and he keeps seeing himself?
No, that's a different one.
Is that a different
one?
See, there's all these O'Brien double episodes.
That one's crazy because the O'Brien that we follow from the beginning of the episode is the one that dies, and then the one we get at the end of the episode is the 5 minutes in the future one or whatever.
It's like if you made an entire episode about the Harry Kim from the other Voyager that they saved. Yeah.
But you kind of do, because Harry Kim's always his double that's coming back.
No, I know. I'm just saying if that whole episode was about that, as opposed to just a quick thing they did at the end. Jason says this is a survival video game, and then says that should be a thing. I mean, Elite Force was basically this, Jason.
How did they do sweat?
That looked like a giant Lego. Did you see that? Look, it's like a big Lego.
Yeah. How did they do sweat on the makeup? Did they spray them with water?
Good. I never thought of that. But obviously you're not sweating through it. Yeah.
Right.
Good call.
I guess that's Michael Westmore.
Oh, that Michael Westmore.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Look, he's got the Hershey's Kisses game again.
Mm-hmm. So, O'Brien said earlier he figured out that Garrick must be under the control of this drug, and he goes, it's the only explanation. Not only is it the only explanation, but it's the best explanation anyway, just because of how he's acting and everything. And I think it's really fascinating to have this episode where you do a premise where the booby traps on the station are not ultimately the thing that starts, that gets most of the damage done to the team that's on the station.
Yeah, and not even the guys that get pulled out of stasis either.
Yeah.
They're a threat, but they ultimately end up not being the main threat.
Exactly.
And then you just really wish you hadn't brought any Cardassians on this mission. Although you couldn't have gotten on the station if you didn't have them.
They would have been able to get on, right?
So,
right. Oh, look, this is the first time we see Ops on this station, I think.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? There's reveals of sets that we use in every episode.
But they somehow look more mysterious.
And completely different because of the way we're lighting it. Yeah,
I always thought Ops was one of the coolest sets in Star Trek.
Yeah, because we've never seen this set with everything off. You've never seen that view screen without something on it. Oh, actually, that's not true. We turn that off a lot, don't we?
No, we turn that off.
No, I'm not thinking about that.
It's weird
to
see behind it.
Yeah, it's weird to see behind it, and
it's they took the idea for that Enterprise E view screen in First Contact from it.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Jason says, "No, you don't shoot them." See, so he once again, it's not like Elite Force. This is a good point. He says, "No, don't shoot them. You try to survive the Cardassians and do puzzles." And then he says, "And the boss is Garrick."
There were a lot of puzzles in Elite Force, Jason. Remember how many times you had to reroute a conduit and all that stuff? And
Jason just wrote, "Oh no, Garrick's crazy." I wish we'd brought him down here to watch this with us, just so we could see the look on his face.
But it is, and the best thing about it is that it brings out the players through nature. Where are you, Gary? I saw the look in your eyes when I took the Ferengi away from you.
There were a lot of 90s action movies that are kind of like this episode.
Yes.
And O'Brien, or excuse me, Cole Meany was in some of them. He's in Under Siege, and this episode reminds me in places of Under Siege. It's not exactly like that, but
call him Meat Guy.
Meat Guy, yeah. I gotta show you that movie.
I need to watch that with you.
Have you seen Under Siege?
I've never seen Under Siege.
We're gonna all watch Under Siege together.
Okay.
We're gonna do it. Would you do it with us?
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious. It's my wife's favorite action movie.
Yeah, it's like all these movies that were kind of derivative of Die Hard a little bit, I guess, where where there was some crazy stuff going on in a confined location.
Oh yeah, David, I forgot he was in Con Air. David says he's also in Con Air, which is nothing like this episode.
Paul Meany's in Con Air?
Yeah, I forgot about that, but I haven't seen that in a million years.
I haven't either. Is
Die
he a
Hard
bad guy
on a
in
boat!
Con Air?
Sorry, what?
Is he a bad guy in Con Air?
I don't remember. Probably.
Is his name Falcon?
He's a bad guy in Under Siege. Or is he a bad guy in it? I think he's a bad guy in Under Siege. I haven't seen that in a long time, but he's in that movie. He's just not in a lot of it, so I'm forgetting what exactly what part he plays. He's not Meat Guy, though. Meat Guy's another thing. It's crazy how much he worked.
Paul Meany.
Yeah.
He was in a movie called Layer Cake with Daniel Craig right before Daniel Craig became James Bond.
Really?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I've heard of that movie, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
He
was like one of the main cast of that movie.
Cole Meany showed up in a show called Hell on Wheels.
He was on that show, Hell on Wheels, a Western.
I saw 2 episodes of that. I really wanted to watch
it.
It was a really good period piece, looked like. It was about the building of the railroad, some stylized piece from the 1800s.
Oh, that sounds
really good.
Watchable? Yeah, cool.
And he was in a movie called... I'm pretty sure he was in The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill but Came Down a Mountain.
Really?
Yes.
With Hugh Grant? I've seen that movie.
I think he's in that, yes. And he's also in a movie called Mystery Alaska or something like that. From the 90s.
No. They're just
look, he put all the dead people up. That's cold-blooded.
That's messed up.
That is messed up.
This show was not afraid to do stuff like
The third one
this.
back there too looks like behind O'Brien.
My supporters may be fewer in number, but
People keep asking me if I think that because of my complaints about New Trek, why I don't think that DS9 went too far in its darkness. And this is a really good example of a thing like that. Like, yeah, it pushed the envelope as far as it could push it, certainly. And there are a couple of examples here and there where I don't know if they didn't go a little bit too far.
Right.
certainly. But this is a really good example. We don't have to make... We don't have to make our Federation characters cynical and the Federation itself dark. To put them in a dark situation. And also keep in mind that TOS had plenty of dark episodes.
And it helped to showcase the Federation ideals because they actually got tested, and it wasn't just like the Next Generation where it's as Cisco says, it's easy to be a saint in paradise.
Yeah. Because otherwise, the show should have just been, a captain on a starship flying around making, a lot of platitudes while everything goes perfectly well all the time. And just like, look, we found a new star, the end.
Right.
Which is actually what Discovery is, but with cannibalism.
Starfleet with this show, Even when they invented Section 31, it was always some, rogue group that no one knew about, and it was completely... disavowed by everyone else.
And what was interesting about Section 31, back before it was everywhere and now I hate it, is it had to exist in order for the utopia to happen in the first place, which some people might think is against Roddenberry's ideals or the philosophy or whatever, but keep in mind all the, massacres and wars and horrible dark stuff that had to happen before we could get there in the first place. The idea that you would think that you needed some kind of like covert operation to work in the background while you pretended like everything was rosy is totally believable. And also, most everybody didn't know they were still operating.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been talking enough about this, but that was an amazing move, and I was always really impressed with O'Brien. And again, this show was really good at keeping people in character and showcasing their personal ingenuity and resourcefulness in unique ways to them. O'Brien could pull that off and even thought of it because he's an engineer in the first place.
Yeah, Brian O'Brien's such a cool character, just like how much he grew just from being the random extra flying the ship and Farpoint to what he became.
And also keep in mind that Garrick is a spy, and all the moves he's been making are very in line with his background.
Like, did you see that barrel next to Garrick? It looked like that barrel of McDonald's Happy Meal toys that you got that time. But that barrel that hit Worf.
Yeah, the barrel that hit Worf, yeah. That looks like
You're right, it does look like the Happy Meal toy barrel that I got.
You should be alright in a few days.
Wow, I can't believe we're already at the end of this episode. Oh, Jason wants to know if you can make yourself on Deep Space Nine.
I don't have a Deep Space Nine background. I should have downloaded
Get one real quick.
What else do I got here?
You should get a slanted one.
Up that.
You should get one that's like this
level next time with an episode themed background.
Yeah, we're not picking them ahead of time.
There.
Picard's ready room.
I'm drinking my Earl Grey.
That keeps disappearing in various places. No, you should pretend like somebody keeps trying to buzz in to come in, to come in, and then you keep going come, and then you go yes.
Here we are. Let's have a meeting.
It's like you're taking that virtual tour of the Enterprise that came out on CD-ROM.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I have that still.
Do you really? Does it run in compatibility mode?
And do you remember they also had a virtual Klingon dictionary?
I had to put it on a System 7 Mac emulator to get it to run.
Nice.
It uses QuickTime, like from the 90s.
QuickTime, oh my goodness.
So you will be able to see the sheer respect between these two characters after this. Like, every time they're on screen together, they play differently after this episode.
They've learned a lot about each other.
Don't take this the wrong way, but that was the idea. That was the plan. Mm-hmm.
It's not because I don't like you. It's because you're under the influence of a psychotropic drug trying to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was fast.
That was fast.
Can't believe we're already done with that.
Yeah.
Great episode.
There it is. There's Impact Noir.
Yeah, I'd not seen that.
Oh, we're knocking out the really good ones too quick, but that's okay because we also had to watch The Survivors, which compared to that feels terrible. And it's not. It's a good episode. I mean, it's an okay episode. But then we got to watch Impact Noir, you know?
Yeah, when are we going to get some Enterprise episodes in here?
We got a couple on the wheel, and one's okay, and one's the worst episode of Star Trek. So,
what's the worst episode of Star Trek?
What do you think? These are the Voyages.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that is bad.
It actually probably isn't the worst episode of Star Trek.
Current Star Trek isn't Star Trek.
But it's the worst possible. Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. But it's the worst possible. Yeah, but it's the worst possible way you could have ended a 17-year run of Star Trek. Certainly.
And it's just weird because they look way older. You know, they've visibly aged by the time they made that episode.
So
David, I'm sorry, were you trying to get my attention to add Naked Now, or are you just saying that you've decided you'll do it next time? Or did you already add one this week? Oh, I think you already... Oh, okay, I see what he's saying. He's like, we don't have enough bad episodes, so he's going to put Naked Now on later.
I don't mind Naked Now. It's funny. It's weird.
You want to see Data taking out all the Isolator ships?
Yeah.
Doing all this?
That guy. He's like...
So I never considered that we are these are the Voyages ended the 17-year run. I just was like, it's the end of the series, but no, it's the end of Star Trek for a while.
Well, they also make a big deal out of that in that episode. Have you ever seen it?
I've seen half of it.
Because the half of it. How that
Yeah, just half of the. I like had to leave or something.
Because the end of, because the very end of that episode, it has the like TOS and TNG speech with all the different captains and shows the 3 Enterprise ships, and it's, I don't know. They made a big deal out of that. It was just a really bad send-off.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, we're going to go ahead and rate the episodes now. We'll go ahead and do both of them together, because I didn't think to do it after the Survivors. I don't know how we'll do this moving forward, if we'll like rate directly after the first episode, or if we'll just rate them both at the end.
We should rate directly after the first episode, because
I think
sometimes
so too.
the second episode affects our judgment of the first episode, and that used to happen before in other things that we did.
Well, I wouldn't be worried about that so much as just we probably wouldn't get to talk about the other one like as much. But anyway, well, guys, in the comments, if you want to participate with this as well, you can rate each episode on the Superhero Rewind scale, 0 to 4, and you can do 0.5s in between 2 if you want to. So 0 is terrible, 4 is one of the best things you've seen in Star Trek. We usually rate in kind of comparison to Star Trek on the whole, as opposed to within each series. That's usually what I do anyway, but you can rate it however you want to. So, like, if I was rating, for instance, like an Enterprise episode compared to just other Enterprise episodes, that's a higher rating than compared to Star Trek on the whole. But that's just how I do it. You can do it any way you want to. And we'll each just kind of briefly give you our thoughts about each of these episodes. We're going to talk about these together. And I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to continue doing it like this just because it's weird to talk about these two things at the same time. Adam, why don't we hear from you first? Why don't you give us your rating for the Survivors, and then your rating for Impact Nor. Yeah, he has been for a while now. Yeah.
I give it maybe... I'll give the Survivors... I gave Time's Arrow a 2.7 last time. I'll give the Survivors a 3.
Wow, that's pretty high.
No, I'm going to give it a 2.75. I'll rate the same thing. So 2.75 on that. And then, I mean, it's fine. I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite. Definitely, especially because it comes right before Who Watches the Watchers, which is an episode I really like from Next Generation. Yeah. So I've always kind of just like tolerated it. And the Impact Nor, I give that probably like a 3.25. It's pretty good. I really like the moodiness, the atmosphere, like we were talking about. And it's really, it didn't feel like they did a cop-out reset at the end. You know, it felt like they really did. Garrick really did. They really did explore his character.
Oh, if he had gotten Smallville amnesia at the end, that immediately drops that an entire point, right?
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Brandon?
Well, I'm going to give the first episode kind of a. I'm going to give it a 2.55. Honestly,
2.55.
Yeah,
2.55.
I like it just because it's got some fun lines in it, and you know, Worf. They kind of treat Worf a couple different ways in the episode, and you know that's always fun to watch. So, yeah, it's an interesting idea, and I like the exploration of, you know, much in like Q, there's nothing they can do about this, so you know they just have to let it be.
And they're just lucky that guy's not still crazy and destroying entire groups of people.
Yeah, because he could literally destroy the universe at this point if he wanted to. It seems like. Anyway,
only the whole schnock.
50 billion.
I'm never gonna remember
50
that.
50 billion entities. How about 50 billion? So
wow.
he did that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then, so then this episode was really good for a number of reasons. You know, not the least of which was how they filmed it. I will admit it is a tad bit dark, and there's one spot where it's even darker than all the rest, and it's right before like the big climax of the episode, and that was kind of rough to watch. But I mean, if you're in a really dark room, it probably watches even better. But
That's true too. We have a light on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do dig the aesthetic quality of the episode and the exploration of Garrick's nature, and we get a slight bit of backstory on O'Brien, and I dig their interplay and how their respect for each other kind of cements itself.
Yeah, Adam, considering how much cleaner the footage that we did get to see remastered in the documentary was, I bet that looks totally different.
Right.
I would imagine it too. So for this episode, I'm going to give this I'm going to give it a 3.7. I really enjoyed Impact Noir. Obviously, the really
we talked through it, but I'm glad you finally got to see it.
Yes, the really hammy, cheesy thing, obviously, is just everything.
Or did you start recognizing stuff?
No.
Had you not seen that?
I had not seen this
because we
episode.
definitely have done that in club like a couple times.
Right, I had not seen it. So,
okay.
I knew, of course, because it's been talked about ad nauseum in club, and we had screenshots of it. I knew that the station was.
And Sarah brings it up all the time.
Yeah. So I knew about that, and that that's cheesy and fun, but as far that's the only thing that doesn't really 100% track in the episode. So yeah, it's really good. It's not a 4 for me, but it is really good.
Like I said earlier, Survivors struck me as a massive TOS throwback, and I cannot believe Roddenberry's name is not anywhere on that. That he didn't at least break the story on that. Maybe he was in there and he's just not credited because it feels like a massive Roddenberry script. There are a couple of really nice Picard scenes in that. But overall, it's just mediocre early 3. It feels like a season 2 episode, most assuredly, and it's right after that, so that's not altogether surprising. It's kind of right before they find their stride. It has kind of, I think, a nigh predictable ending. It's almost too Star Trek of an ending, if that makes any sense. But I like it okay. It's not terrible. That's probably another 2.5. I can't go all the way to a 3 on that.
Right.
And I always just go 5s. I never do the middle parts that everybody else likes to do.
Right.
Yeah, which you guys are totally welcome to do that. I just never do that. I like to be consistent with what I do in Rewind. It's always just 0.5s. With I can't tell you if I like, and of course they're doing different things, but I can't tell you if I like, as far as consummate Garrick episodes, Impact Noir or The Wire better. It's really hard to say. They're kind of at loggerheads for me.
Right.
The Wire would also be a contender for a 4 episode for me, so I'm gonna go for a 3.5 on that.
Right.
And that's probably what I've rated it before. This is probably the 4th time I've rated this episode.
I can't remember if I watched it in club ever or not.
It all blends together.
It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure we never done The Wire.
But let's see what folks. I think maybe we did once, and it was before you, but I'm not sure. Yeah, Jason gave The Survivors a 2 and Impact Noir a 3.5. David gave The Survivors a 1.5 and Impact Noir 3. Noah gave The Survivors a 2.5 and Impact Noir a 3. And that's everybody who decided to rate. There are more people watching, but those are the folks that decided to put in ratings. So, nobody put Survivors over Impact Noir.
One of the things that I like about the rating scale is that you will come into your own on your rating scale as time progresses and you watch more Star Trek and you start rating them differently. So your ratings may ultimately change for an episode based on how much Star Trek you've watched and what you like better.
Well, yeah, of course, it's all relative.
I just think that it's kind of fun how that's an available option. The more you watch, the more you come into what you like and what you don't like.
Sure, yeah. And then when we were doing club for a long time, you would eventually, of course, do some repeats. And who knows how long we'll be doing this? I guess it's possible that could happen on this show too. Although with the wheel, I'm planning on trying to keep that from happening. But what would happen is you'd rate an episode that you had rated several years ago, and we always kept track. We're not doing that on this show, but we always kept a list of all the ratings. And you'd go back and look at the first time you rated it. You'd be like, oh wow, I was like completely I gave that a 2.5, and now it's a 3 or something. So anyway,
what was the biggest disparity that you encountered in the old club between what you had rated, and then you came back to
I
it.
couldn't tell you now. I don't remember.
That's a good question.
There were a couple though that were pretty far spreads. I'll tell you, there are certain episodes that used to be in my top 10 for certain shows. And Adam and I have been talking about doing some top 10s. That because and Sarah and I used to do those, but like I want to go back and do it again because it's been years and they would be different now. That wouldn't even be anywhere close to my list now. Like I used to put Endgame on that list on Voyager. I hate Endgame now. It's really bad. I mean, I like things about it, but overall, it's not good. It's got huge, massive, kind of thoughtless ethical issues where you're just like, no, like what were you thinking? You know, like. Old person Janeway is a horrible human being, and that episode does not know that.
She lost 7.
I guess if they follow the same time travel rules that you're talking about, where things get papered over when they go back and change history, then Janeway goes back and basically erases everybody that she'd known for the past 20 years.
Yeah, breaking the temporal prime directive in so many ways.
Yeah, but exactly. But the big ethical issue is she is like stopping all these like. The future was rosy. There were a couple of her friends were dead, but everything was great overall. Yeah, and so there's all these like I always talk about this with time travel. Like you go back and try to make things better for everyone, but you discount all the people that would have gotten married or people who would not exist if you hadn't done that. So that was the first thing. The second thing is if you're gonna just save your 2 closest friends. Why don't you go all the way back to the beginning and try to save all the people you got killed throughout the run of Voyager? Like, she didn't care about any of those people. It was just Chakotay and Seven, and they play it like it's endearing. Like, she's played as somewhat morally ambiguous, but she's not played as deplorable the way I think she is.
They should have her go to put a bomb on the caretaker array for them. And then they go use it to get back to the Alpha.
It really
I don't think you can get a 2-hour finale out of that, though.
Even if you consider that maybe she's thinking about how the crew came together at that point, and what may have transpired between that point and where she was with the the death of 7 of 9 and things like that. Like, it doesn't make any sense because she's still, like you said, affecting all those other lives in her future that was pretty rosy.
But also, a lot of people on Voyager died. And she had a time-traveling device that would let her go back as far as she wanted to go. It wasn't like there was some kind of plot device that forced her to go back when she did. And there's no reason it had to be where we were in the series, except that's where we were in the series.
Yeah, what was your empathy for the lit guy that got eaten by a lizard in Basics? What about him?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Anyway, we can talk about this all day. At some point, we'll get to Endgame, and I will just scream for 2 hours at the screen. It'll just make me angry. Because it's also annoying that it's kind of just all good things again, in the ways in which it is. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. Well...
But I like all good things.
Yeah, no, David, I know, but I have plenty to say about Endgame. It's not like because we had this discussion, I'm gonna not have things to say. Anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for hanging out with us for Star Trek Club. We went kind of over tonight. We're gonna try not to go a full 3 hours every week, but this was fun. I hope everybody had a good time, and we will see you again next Monday, as many of us as are able to be here. Spin the wheel again and see what episodes we wind up with. Thanks a lot for watching. We will see you again next time. Do you guys have any other business or anything before we
business
hang it up?
Business. Any more stuff on the agenda?
The minutes are wrapped up.
Minutes are wrapped up.
Thanks again for being here, guys. I was Captain Logan. This was Brandon Grimm. And that was
Civilian Brandon.
Ab Meredith all the way in 10 forward. Get yourself a Sumerian sunset.
I'm going to flick the glass.
Later, folks.